Hello and welcome to Survive the Unexpected with your host Frank Pacino and of course my lovely crew here, Michael Schaefer, Amanda Bryant, and James Hansen. And this is part 4 of our season ranking. We're gonna be going through 11 to number 1. Um, we've been ranking all the seasons. We've had some agreements, disagreements. But yeah, we'll just go ship it right to Michael and he'll explain again exactly what we did, and we'll get on with the first one.
Well, if you haven't been watching, I suggest you go back and rewatch when I've explained this before. So I'll just make it quick. We all made our own list. I put them together, and we've been running through all 44 seasons. We've gotten from 44 to number 12. Today we're going to finish off this list, and let's just not waste any time. Let's go right into it. So kicking off today at number 11, we have. I think this is.
It's 11, right?
Yep.
Top 11. Okay.
I believe this is an elite season. Amanda doesn't think so. Frank and I had this the highest, both at number 8. James had it at number 10, and Amanda had it at number 19. Season 27, Survivor Blood versus Water.
That's right. I'm so glad I cracked this out of the top 10.
Let's let Amanda have the floor because she has it.
Amanda and her heart.
It is boring at first. It's boring. I think that the returners were very questionable. Some of their family members sucked. I don't like Redemption that much this season. I just think the other Blood versus Water is so much better. I think it's so much better. And I don't understand why you guys literally have this ranked number 8. Like, it has great moments. Like, we have the rock draw, and there's great characters as well. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad season, but I definitely do not understand the hype that everybody else has for it.
Because it's an amazing season. That's why.
Why is it so amazing?
So, you complain about it being boring. To me, there's one boring episode of the entire season, and that's the second episode.
The first 2 episodes, boring. First 2.
No, the first episode was great. The second episode was boring, and then it gets good once John Cody goes home, and then the rest of that loved ones tribe falls apart. It picks up a little bit at the swap because that returnee tribe was just so kumbaya, and after Colton quits for being a baby, that returnee tribe was kind of just and then that merge was top tier.
The merge was great.
I loved watching
Tyson. Good too. You got Aris getting booted, right at the merge boot.
Yep.
Who was playing a great. Honestly, I think out of the returnees in the pre-merge, like he was kind of. If Tyson wasn't running shit, Aris was running.
Aris
shit.
was in a great spot if Tyson wasn't there.
Exactly.
But unfortunately for Aris, Tyson was there.
And look, I love Tyson. He's a good winner. You know, he's definitely a deserving player to come back multiple times and has personality to follow it. You know, obviously we love Hayden this season. I actually didn't mind Katie this season. I liked Katie this season. So, and like, I think this was Tina's best season. So it's like, there are certain parts of it that I really do like, but it doesn't hold high to me when it doesn't have a good premiere in my eyes. I know you liked the first episode. I did not. So to me, it felt like it did not have a good premiere. Felt like the first couple of episodes were really, really boring. Colton brought it down. Like you said, the merge was kind of shaky.
Whoa. Pause. Weren't you the reason you were hyping up One World because of Colton?
Yes.
No, I was not.
Yes.
I never liked Colton.
Go back and listen. You said Colton was one of the reasons you liked that season.
I swear that's what you said.
Listen, the drama around. Listen, wait. The drama around Colton is hilarious in One World, but I don't want to see. I don't want to see it.
You didn't say you liked him as a person. Yeah, you didn't say that.
No, I don't like him as a player at all. Obviously, I don't like him as a player or a person at all. His significant other was way better than him, but like I don't want to be known that Amanda likes Colton because that's definitely not the
No,
case.
I did. I just wanted to be clear. I wasn't saying you liked them. I just said
no. The drama around Colton,
One
seeing
World.
it first time in One World, hilarious. You love seeing the
That's
crash.
what you
and
said.
burn.
That's what you said on the One World.
Yeah, I don't want to
Yes.
see it. I don't want to see it a second time. And he literally lasted way longer than he should have. I think there are seasons that have a good pre-merge and merge. And like I said, the returners on this season were questionable. I think you guys can agree they could have come with better returners with their
Well, you also have to remember they could have picked some of these returnees just to get their loved ones.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason Kat's back is they wanted Hayden.
And Monica.
And Monica's they wanted Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Colton, maybe they found intrigue.
I think they wanted
Caleb too.
Caleb.
Yeah,
That's
and
why they
Caleb
took
was
back Colton.
Caleb was great. Honestly,
Yes,
like I
yes.
really
Yeah.
enjoyed Caleb. And
Look,
I think they wanted Sierra. That's why they brought Laura back.
and I liked Sierra. Like I liked a lot of the in this one. Like I liked a lot of the newer players better than their loved ones. Like not all of them, obviously, but like some of them. Like John Cody was good. The only one that really wasn't that good, like Laura wasn't that good, and then Katie was but
I like
besides
Katie.
that,
She was
Oh,
so
I
boring.
did.
she is a
Alright.
very dry personality, but
okay.
I just
yeah.
so you guys are kind of picking up what I'm saying here too. Like I think we should have a fair compromise of you guys have ranked it too high, I have it ranked too low. It probably should be in the middle
No,
between
no,
12
no.
and
No,
It's a top
15.
10 season.
It should
10th is
definitely
high.
not be a top
You're
10
wrong.
season. It
You're
should
the
not
only one
be a
who
top
doesn't
10
have it as a
season.
top 10 season. Why would we compromise and
Kessler
take it
doesn't
out of the top
either.
10?
Keslin's opinion. means
Kessler's
nothing
not
to me.
here. Kessler's
Oh,
not
out
here.
of this group, yes, I'm the only one, but
Yes.
I don't think it's an uncommon opinion that people don't have Blood versus
Alright,
Water
listen.
in their top 10.
It'll be
Let
uncommon
me-
all at once. It's wrong.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about
it's it.
why it's a top 10 season. For one, the first like 2 episodes, okay, a little slow, but then you get a blind side of somebody because they have an idol or the hide a clue that don't share with the alliance, and then we get the fuck you, Brad Culpepper going into redemption. Every time they went to redemption, he was getting reamed for like 3 episodes, and that shit was golden. If you like drama, that shit was drama. And then Monica's over there crying because Brad's getting his ass shoot out, and then you get to where Caleb throws the tie vote to vote out Brad, where he forces I was it Vetus's
Venus
hand
that flipped.
the vote Brad out, which was this is crazy because these guys were in this power predicament, and Caleb basically said, "No, we're not doing this no more. We got to ship Brad out," and he literally called their bluff and said, "I'm willing to go to Rocks for it." And Vetus wasn't. Brad got sent home. Great tribal, pre-merge tribal, great tribal. Then he gets to
Oh, you
redemption,
get the horns.
and people are clapping that he's in redemption. The first episode, I forgot to mention the first episode, Jarvis was sitting there jumping up and down. That's why his niece got voted out. Like,
It was boring.
no, what do you
Who
mean?
likes it? Who
That's
liked his niece anyway? Who wanted to
But-
see her
but
in the
the-
game still? Like it's
but
not
the-
cool or funny.
Just-
Like
to see his reaction to it was hilarious because he was just like, and she even called him out. Go lay down.
I think he was trying to be cool because he wasn't relevant since season 1. So I mean, I don't know. I just don't get the magic you guys get from it. I'm glad you guys enjoy it as much as you do.
I just laid it out. Like you just
I
said, there's
know.
boring. How is it boring you? And then there's blind sides.
I'm rewatching this season right now because you guys told me that I need to rewatch it because I have it ranked too low. I'm putting the work in right now.
Okay.
I'm currently on episode like 3 or 4, and so far it's been boring as fucking shit. So I'm working on it. I'm giving it another chance. Y'all better hope I don't rank it lower than where I have it. And then it'll start picking up.
You can't get any worse than what you have it.
And then
Well, you can, but you'd just be more wrong.
Then the merge was great too. We had a great blind side to
Merge was
start out the
great.
merge. And then you have the rock draw that Hayden forces at Tribal Council. Sierra gets all this credit for this fucking rock draw. She
That was all
deserves
Hayden.
0.
That
It was all
Hayden.
It was all hated.
You guys got to remember 5 words. She voted out her mom.
Her
Mom,
mom.
oh god.
All right,
That
so
is
I will say
so
that's one of the most
annoying.
overrated moves in Survivor.
Yeah.
And
She was going home
talked
or-
She
about.
already knew
Anyways.
anyway. She was
But
already going home anyway.
Despite all that, like this season, the post merge was awesome. Like the we had split sides pretty much the whole way, and then Tyson literally at Final 6 was willing to go to Rocks for his alliance with an idol in his pocket. Like
Mhm.
that takes some
If
balls.
I was Tyson, I would not have went to Rocks there.
No, that was a bad move by Tyson.
bad-
It was.
Could you
But,
imagine how much he'd be kicking himself if he got rocked
So-
out that night?
Oh,
we
man.
saw Tyson come in the first 2 times, and like he was such a great character, but he really the gameplay wasn't there. Like the first time he got brutally blindsided. The second time, the man basically voted himself out. The second
He made
time.
one of the worst moves in the history.
Yeah,
of
we'll
Survivor.
get to
Yes.
that,
Definitely.
but this time Tyson came out there and like he was cast as a character to go out there for
Well,
third
you
time, and he took the game very seriously. And as soon as he lost Rachel early on in the game, he was motivated to go out there and show that he was a great player, and he pretty much got arc that Coach didn't get, and he ended up coming out on top. And
Well,
I
that-
love to
and
see it
that-
from Tyson. He's
That's
one of my
exactly
favorites.
what it was too. Because after Rachel got voted out, he thought about switching with her, and she said, "Stay in the game." And when she lost at redemption, he said, "I need to win this game because
Ugh,
she's
I
not
hated
here, or
Rachel.
he'd regret it." And he won.
I
He
did not like
absolutely
Rachel
crushed
at
it.
all.
But she was only in it for a couple episodes.
Yeah,
Really
Amanda's
relevant.
dating all these people who weren't even around very
They're
long.
not really
Yeah.
relevant in the season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
all
like you
the-
got.
I
Tyson.
also really don't like Redemption. I'm not a big Redemption fan.
You like Southpaw though.
I do because I love Coach. That's a
But
different
how can
story.
you
It's
say
because
that?
it's
That's
a good. Because I don't. That's not why I like Sopa. That's not why I like Sopa. I like Sopa because of other reasons. Like we've already talked about Sopa. I'm not going to go on about Sopa. Like it. Like just because I like Sopa does not mean I like Redemption Island. I don't like that twist. I've never liked that twist. I don't like watching it.
I don't like
It's
the
like-
twist either, but it works this season.
It works for Blood versus Water.
It's the only time it
See-
really works, but it does.
Michael,
this
how can you
season.
say that when you say all the time, once you're voted out, you have no, you shouldn't win the game?
I agree.
He's not changing his mind on that, but seeing the way Redemption works this season, like with the loved ones involved, there's more strategy.
I
with
liked Redemption
sending people there.
entertainment we got on during the duels.
Yeah.
But like
Because-
at no point did I ever think Laura or Tina should have won after they got back in the game.
No, definitely.
And
not.
which is the crazy thing is Tina would have won.
Tina
if she
probably
made
would have
it.
won if she got.
She
Oh
made it
yeah,
as a-
Tina played great. I think this is Tina's best game,
You know, besides being voted out
besides being voted out.
twice,
But she played great
she did.
while she was
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
She went home for it.
So, like I said, and I think, Tyson obviously played a lot better than Monica and Jervis. Like with the final three, he was obviously going to win. But I think Monica and Jervis were better than some of the goats that we see get to the end.
I will.
I was a Jervis fan because I liked him in season
Jarvis
one,
is
and
a
then
dick.
and then Monica. I know, but I feel like it was interesting to see a season one person just back out there just for that reason. And then Monica, I mean, there was some strategy in her game. She had a chance to sort of take over the game and kind of didn't, but
Dude, they
multiple
ringed her
times.
so
Yeah.
hard at FTC. That
Yeah,
was one of
really.
the hardest FTCs I watched. It was I just remember her crying, and the jury would not let up. They did not let up on her. I think that was one of the most brutal jury
Well,
runs I've seen.
I think they thought she was fake crying.
She was not.
I know,
I could
but-
tell she was not on television. I did not like watching that. That was hard to watch.
that is like sugar. It was literally
Yeah.
almost that bad.
Yeah, it was bad. I remember feeling like Monica didn't deserve it. I remember feeling like I cannot believe the juror is being like this toward her. I don't know.
So I just think everyone who made merge had a purpose, and so I think this is one of the better merges for sure.
I will hit on the one knock this season has, and that's the twist on day one where the two people were voted out.
Yes, I
Yeah.
hate that one.
That was terrible. They should have not done that.
And they said
Was
them
the
up for
sacrifice.
disaster because all these returning players were pre-gaming but Candace because she was an alternate. And so she was just set up for disaster. She had no chance.
But at least the only benefit we got of that is we didn't have to see Rupert play this season. Because
Oh, yes. That was a huge
I just said, I'm
positive.
like,
Huge
at least
positive
Rupert-
up.
At least the twist, Rupert was the sacrificed one of the
Yeah.
twist.
I can't believe this is he's played 4 times. This is only the second time we talked about him. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm not a big Rupert fan.
I was when I was younger. Young Amanda
I
really
never
liked
really got
Rupert.
the
More.
No.
We're gonna
Not
get
my
into him
thing.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we got a couple more seasons of him to talk about later.
We definitely do.
All right. I think that's it. I mean, Amanda's wrong. We're right. It's okay.
Listen, I might change
Amanda's gonna hurt my
my
feelings again on the
mind.
next
I'm
one,
watching. Listen, I'm watching it. Okay, I might change my mind, but so far, I'm not impressed. Not impressed at all.
All right, Michael.
All right. Well, Amanda's gonna hurt my feelings again on this next one.
Good. It's about fucking time. I'm ready to wring your ass for a little while. Let's go.
I will probably no. This is not even my hottest take. Amanda has the season at 16. Frank has it at 15. James has it at number 9, and I have it all the way at number 1, season 25, Survivor Philippines.
Michael.
Ridiculous.
All right,
Just admit
Michael.
that you know
All
you're
right.
overrating it. for
Michael, you
biased
get
reasons.
2 minutes or so, and none of us are going to say anything because
All right.
That's fair.
you obviously have stuff to say.
So I will admit this ranking is probably a little bit of just personal bias because I will say after Nicaragua, Redemption Island, South Pacific, One World, these 4 garbage seasons, I was just about done with watching Survivor. And then I had saw that Penner was coming back for the season, so I was like, all right, I'll let it one more try because I liked him that much. And this season fucking delivered. You have literally, this is the first time they did 3 tribes since All-Stars. You have the disaster tribe in challenges who can't win a goddamn thing, with Matt saying basically being the new Oolong tribe. You have the disaster that was Tandang. I would have loved to have seen that tribe go to tribal because that would have been an absolute dumpster fire shit show that would have been so entertaining to watch. We had the Calabao tribe, which really, honestly, outside of Penn, that tribe was boring as shit. But once they merge, the season was phenomenal. And you finally got the downfall of that Tang Dang tribe because we couldn't see them implode on themselves. They waited to the merge and then let everyone else help destroy them from the inside out. You got that 3 of Abby, Pete, and Artis get the comeuppance they were looking for since basically day 5 when they finally get turned on by Scoopin, who they treated like shit since the start of the game, that he finally turned on them. You have this arc of Malcolm and Denise, who are the last 2 to survive that Matsing disaster, get all the way to the Final 4, and you have Denise as the winner of the season, who had literally had to survive every single tribal council. I just don't see how people can watch this season and not think it's at the very least, top 10. I think it's top 5. I have it at number 1 because of a little bit of my own personal reasons, but this season is top tier elite.
Okay, so I like Philippines. It's
Me
not
too.
that I dislike it. Not a big fan of Scoopin for obvious reasons. I do think seeing Denise make it all the way after going to every tribal is just something you have never seen again. So it's like
And you
it's
will never see it again.
Yeah, you'll never see it again, probably ever. Malcolm was great. I really enjoyed Lisa. Not a huge Penner fan. Feel like he was such a little bitter bitch about Lisa duping him, even though
I
that was
will
his own
say,
fault.
I do, as much as I love him, I do think he made one of the worst decisions in this game when he got basically
Talk
handed a
about
Final
it.
4 deal and he said no, thank you.
No, it's the
Yeah.
thank you.
This is also his best game, though. So
Yeah.
It was,
Does
but
he
also
admit-
him
does he
declining that
admit
loss
now
of the
that
game.
was
If
a
he
bad
takes that, he
idea?
probably wins.
I don't know, but Penner is a great guy. As a Survivor player, he just never tickled my fancy. And then having Russell return again just for him to get voted out pre-merge and he had no idea it was coming was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. Or he expects to win. God, why are you punishing me? And it's like we there's no way they're beating us, and that shit was funny. That made me laugh.
Or him walking around the camp looking for the idol that's right under his nose.
Right
That he
in
couldn't
his
find.
nose. Yeah. And then we get a couple, we have Abby Maria, which is great TV.
Amazing
TV.
television.
Great TV.
Especially she hates RC for no reason.
Dude, RC was one of like the most crazy pre-merge vote outs. I think a lot of people want to see
She wasn't
RC
pre-merge.
back.
She wasn't pre-merge.
She
She
was
was on the Jerry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess she was. Yeah.
She was the merge boot because she
Did she get a lot of edit? Did she get a low edit?
No.
Edit.
No?
She was gonna come back for Blood versus Water, I think, actually, or something with her dad.
Her dad.
Something happened. Yeah. But no, there was generally, I will say, like, I had this season 8th, so somewhere
You got it
between
9,
9, so or 8th or 9th, I think. So somewhere between Frank and Amanda and Michael. So I will say Denise is actually in this game in particular one of my all-time favorite winners because I love a winner that has to go to every tribal and it goes to the merge. Technically, I guess on the bottom, and is able to get underestimated enough to like just get herself to the end and have this great story. And like she did, I mean, have great strategy too. And as well, as much as Malcolm was probably the MVP of this season, Denise set herself up perfectly to win near the end game because there was basically either people she didn't, the people left were either unlikable or you had Malcolm who was too threatening to make it all the
And
way
she
to
knew
the
to
to the final
throw
three.
Malcolm under the bus too.
And which
Exactly.
Malcolm made a huge mistake as well because she wanted commitment from Denise wanted commitment from Malcolm, and he wanted to give it to her. Just give it to her, bro. What are you doing? Like you're literally putting your entire game on winning a challenge. Like I know
the challenge that he had an advantage at and advantage in, and he was still the first one to lose.
Yeah, like why not just say yes? I agree. And you know what? If you make a different decision, you own that decision instead of just like relying on this one challenge to win the game.
Yeah, and also this is a season where everyone who made the merge pretty much had their own story. At least like Jeff Kent was pretty good. He was one of the better athletes, maybe the best athlete player we've ever had on the show. Like he had some game in there. I thought Pete was good. He was a great villain.
I want to see Jeff and Pete play again. They probably won't, but
yeah, I mean, I loved Jeff and Pete, and who else was there?
Artists.
Artist was all right, I guess, and
RC.
Okay. But
yeah,
Carter was so boring, bro.
Carter
literally had the most worst
the
television personalities I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, Carter.
I forgot he was even on this season.
So I'll say
he was final 6 too.
Yeah, and he only got voted out because the other option was Abby.
Yep.
We have in my opinion, the all-time greatest first boot in Survivor history was Zayn Knight. It is the most beautiful mess of a pre-tribal council performance he really put on there. That shit was wild. It was something.
He's a mastermind, bro.
I tell you what, I do not like Russell Swan. I don't know why, but I do not.
I did not very good this season.
No, I don't like him. I don't like him in any season. I didn't like him in Samoa either. Like I don't know why.
Oh, I liked him in Samoa.
He's a little cringe at the.
He's cringe.
Like the one where they lost another challenge and he just starts like just rambling. Like it was a little bit cringe. I did like Russell the first time though. We didn't even.
I think it was the fourth one when he got voted out when he smashed the pot and was rambling. Russell, you were I don't know. You were talking to God. Yes, Lord.
Yes,
I mean, Jeff.
I'm dead.
Yeah, I
like Jeff. I like Jeff Kent.
His voting after he got voted out, all time great.
It was so great. He was so mad.
It's not even $1 million.
I really like how this season kind of reminds me of 44 in a way. It's very story centric.
Like that.
Stop it. It's very story centric where you really get Penner's story. You really get, Lisa's story. You really get I don't know. I just feel like you really get to know these characters and their backgrounds and like what they're about. And like you do that with Abby and Malcolm. And like, I don't know. I feel like it's very story centric. I think I have it at 15 and not in my top 10 because it's very Lisa. I'm at 16. I think because it's very Lisa centric, and I like Lisa a lot. I wish she would have won. Like Denise deserved it. She's a great winner, but like with how her story was edited, I wish she would have won for how much television we got of her. And I love Lisa too. I really would have loved to see her play again.
I don't feel like we got that. I know there was a lot of Lisa on the season, but I feel like we got more of like Denise and Malcolm. And when Abby was there, we did get a
I love seeing Lisa there, but she was so just emotional. She felt bad about voting people out, and she was got very close to these people. But I feel like that's just like normal Survivor. Like that's just the way that it happens with Survivor. And she just really took it heavy. I wish she had been a little bit more proud of herself and her game, and she wasn't until the end, which is a good story arc. But I would like to see her grow into her role a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Lisa too. That's part of the reason why I was annoyed by by Penner because he literally tried to blow her spot up because he was bitter at something he shouldn't have been bitter at, in my opinion.
Lisa's
So
one of the more underrated finalists that
ready?
like doesn't get his talk
Oh my God.
I can't hear it.
I
You
can't
can't
hear
hear
you.
it.
I can
Oh.
still. Oh my god.
Just
Anyone want to share? Oh, that's tough.
It's all
let
right.
me find the video.
It's funny.
Oh god, but like I don't know how, like I've rewatched this season probably the most out of any other season. I've seen it maybe 11, 12 times.
Oh my goodness.
I love if I need a season to watch, this is the season I go watch.
Yeah.
Like I watch it before Kagiyan, before Second Chance, before any of these late seasons that we're gonna get to. It's always
Right.
this one.
I've probably only seen this like twice, 2 or 3 times,
I've only seen
maybe,
it
and
like
I've
3
seen
times.
a lot.
Yeah.
Like some of the ones I have higher, I've seen 5 or 6 times.
I
so
will
don't think I'm-
say, even though it's kind of a returning season, there we
Here we
go.
go.
Same old. Lord, I don't know what happened. You gave me another opportunity. I don't get what's happening, Father. You got to help me understand this. I just can't take this.
Such
Such going
television.
on, breaking pots, talking to I don't know who, if you're talking to God.
I'm talking to God, Lord. I mean, Jeff. You know,
Lord, I mean,
maybe
Jeff.
this isn't supposed to happen.
Russell, with all due respect, you sometimes talk like you're a superhero, like Superman's never supposed to fail. You're just a guy.
I'm a guy who was formed by God's hands, a perfect creature. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the way I'm supposed to live my life, in excellence. And everything I'm supposed to do is supposed to be excellent.
And that means never failing.
And yeah, right, absolutely.
Russell, not everyone can succeed at everything.
Jeff said, "Get off your fucking high horse, bro. Don't make me say it."
It pisses me off, but at the same time, logically, I understand.
And it's just even more poetic just that he got voted out that
So
night.
funny.
Yeah.
I know.
So funny. Like
So great.
I think it's a good season. Like I said, I'm not scooping, drags it down just a little bit for me.
I'm also in the mindset of I'm remembering me in watching this in 2012.
Yeah.
I was a freshman in high school when this season came out.
Right.
Like I'm in that mindset where Scoopin didn't do all these godly horrible things.
Right.
Yeah.
We talk about how I think how great the 3 returning choices were. Like throw the scoop and stuff out from after this season, and like at
This-
the time, you brought back 2 great medevac, like with Scoopin and Russell Swan, like 2 ones that everybody will remember, like 2 people that at that point were the 2 like scariest medevacs we had, and then Penner, who had already played twice but didn't really get his second chance. So
Right.
it was a great.
Because he got medevaced in fantasy.
Yeah.
It was great choices for returnees this season. Like you guys talked about, I think how in 39 they weren't the greatest choices, and although I do like 39, I
38.
agree with
38.
38. I meant, yeah. Although I do agree that they weren't the greatest choices for 38 this season, I think they were really good choices.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
the whole reason was because they had the thing of we're bringing back 3 people who got were medevac the first time, not bringing back these like people like all stars like Russell, Rob, Ozzy, Coach, Joe, Aubrey, Wentworth, David. Like give these guys another chance, and
Yeah.
that's what like I feel like they base this on wanting Scoopin back because they did the medevac theme and he was the first one back in season 2. Obviously,
Yeah.
everyone remembers Russell getting medically evacuated. From what I read, I think someone said that Colt was supposed to be the 3rd one.
Oh
And then
God.
Backlash he got of One World, they dropped him and replaced him with Penner.
Jesus.
Because he made his med back up too. Colton did on season.
Yeah, he probably just wanted to go poop on the toilet. I mean, that's all. I mean, look, I don't think it's a bad season whatsoever. We just disagree on exactly which seasons I enjoyed more. So, anybody else have anything to add before we move on? Okay, let's go. Number 9.
All right, I got off my soapbox. I'll let someone else take the floor, but not on this one. This one we're kind of all lumped together on.
Yeah.
Frank has this the highest at number 7. Amanda has it at 10. I have it at 11, and James has it at 12. Season 15, Survivor China.
I love this season. We can talk about this season as much as we want. This is the season I have everyone start Survivor on. This is the season that if I rewatch, I start on. I remember it almost better than any other season. The characters, iconic. It was funny. It was strategic. It had an amazing winner. It had an amazing FTC. I almost want to put it higher. I swear to God, I almost want to put it higher. I love Survivor China a lot, and I watched it live when I was younger. And Courtney Yates is such a fucking queen, and I could just go on and on and on. I could. I love Survivor China.
I think it's like where like let's say how can I put this? It's like a jumping point for like a new era, in my opinion. China.
Yes, I agree.
You see different kind of gameplay, more strategic gameplay. Like, not saying the other seasons didn't have like some moments or whatever, but I feel like there's a quite a difference from 12 to 11.
Was this the first time that idols were hidden at camp?
Yes.
Yes.
So
and like in the
was
Philippines,
Fiji
in
still
plain sight, too.
Fiji was still Exile Island, correct?
Yeah.
So this was the first time they were at camp and in plain sight, and I think that this was the first season really where the strategy was so centered around the idols, like, and that's what we see today. So I totally agree with what Frank said, how this season's kind of like a jumping point for a new era, even though
what Survivor is now.
correct.
Even though we only did have 16 castaways and a very amazing like old school location and stuff too. Like the gameplay this season was new school, and this cast was delivered. Like, honestly, I have this at 12th. I think I should have it higher, probably.
That's what I said too. I should have it higher than 10.
Because I think so fondly of this, and I did watch it live as a middle schooler, and it was so fun then too. And like, I just like Todd's game even more now as a super fan than I did then, and he's one of my all-time favorite winners, I think too. Like, I think Todd played an incredible game, and we got an incredible final 3 because Amanda and Courtney played pretty great too.
I love that we got a real super fan to finally win.
Yeah,
and that's what we got when Todd won, and we wouldn't see it again until Adam won.
Yeah, it was a long time.
I know as probably all of us as super fans ourselves, we want that to be us, and that's what, like, when I'm rewatching China now, but like when Todd wins, when Adam wins, like, I feel like that will be me if I ever won.
Yeah, so, you can feel them like win. You know what I'm saying? Like like that's why Adam is like Todd and Adam are some of my favorite winners, because like when you see them win, like you feel the way that they feel. You're like, oh my God, you did it! Like, you deserve it. Like, you just feel like proud. You watch their whole game from beginning to end. You know, it's just a different feeling than someone like Natalie White winning, or like, you know.
I think Todd and Earl are the two winners that I wish were on War the most. That wasn't there. Besides, like Richard Hatch, which was never going to happen.
I would have loved to see Tina.
Yeah, I would have. I think having one of those like it would have been ideally, it would have been perfect to have Richard Hatch on, but which was never going to happen. But having Todd on and Earl would have been great, as they're like kind of older school. They would have been. It would have been amazing to see them play again. Just to see how they would do this time, what they would do differently, and see how the game they change with the game. It's just a really good season. There's blind sides, there's good relationships, good character moments, great FTC, fun premiere. Get somebody blindsided at final. Was it 6 with 2 idols?
7
with 2 idols.
Which if he would have played them, he would have guaranteed himself the final 5 and more than likely won final 5 immunity.
Yeah. Like, we cannot talk enough about how that'll always go down as one of the
Literally.
worst moves
One of the
ever.
dumbest moves in Survivor
And
history.
Horrible.
one of the craziest blindsides too, because if you think how comfortable he was to not play either idol at that point, like even if it was such a dumb move, like they had to have Amanda really I think deserves the most credit for that because she had James feeling
Yeah.
on the most comfortable with her. Like he was the least probably worried about her turning on him, and she completely fucked him over.
And for
this
him
is
to
another
fix her again at Micronesia is just crazy.
I was gonna say Micronesia has half of Micronesia's cast is from this season. If you guys did not know that,
No.
Well,
or not half, not half, but majority.
No,
Majority.
It was 2.
Yes. No.
James and Amanda.
It was only James and Amanda.
Or maybe I'm thinking of.
Here's his villains had Courtney with the 2.
Sorry. Cook Islands and this season together
Yeah.
are half of 16. Yeah. Yes, that's what I was thinking. Sorry.
Yeah.
Cook Islands and this season. So half of the cast of Fans versus Favorites is from these 2 seasons. There we go. That's the fact I was wanting to get out.
I think we do a common theme with some of these is we're gonna see mostly like the people who make the merge at least are entertain. They're either entertaining or they're good players for the most part. Like
Yeah.
we had a couple maybe duds in here like Eric and Jamie. And Jamie weren't good. Yeah, but John Robert, the TV was gold because everybody hated him so much that it made the season that much funnier.
Him and Courtney being villains to get like both.
He
villains
was that much
great.
of a. He was such a condescending douche and delusionally entitled to stuff to the point where it was funny seeing him get his comeuppance when he did, and Todd really just put him in his fucking place at Final Tribal. Like he basically boosted John Robert's ego because he knew that was the best way to get his vote. Because he's like, this guy is such a big ego that if I just tell him that like the reason he mainly wanted to vote him out is because he was the best strategic player out there that I was worried about. I know that's going to make him feel better about himself, and therefore he's definitely going to want to vote for me then if he wasn't thinking about it. Yeah. So Todd played John Robert like a fiddle, even at Final Tribal Council, which was so funny to me.
And I love seeing that because even at Final Tribal, you can't stop playing the game that late. And Todd kept playing the game until Final Tribal was over.
Yeah.
I will say too, these characters have a lot of relationships with each other that were super dynamic in the game. You had the Amanda James relationship, you had the Jamie, Eric relationship, you had the Courtney John Robert, villainship. Like there's so many like cross relationships that they really highlighted during the season that made you want to keep watching because you want I think relationship in the social game really outshined strategy this season, but the strategy was still just as good because of how the relationships were with each other and how comfortable they quickly were with each other. Like I feel like this is probably one of the more closer casts with each other than others. We didn't even talk about Denise, and how awesome Denise is.
Great too.
PG, great. They're the merge was amazing, literally amazing. I cannot say a bad thing about it.
I forgot how good of a cast this was when I went to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah, such a good cast from top to bottom, pretty much.
Literally
was totally swap screwed and robbed. Like if that dude made the merge, he would have been good because I think he got screwed. Didn't he get screwed because James couldn't throw the challenge because Denise couldn't eat they had the gross food eating challenge.
Yeah,
the eating challenge.
Yeah. And James had to just eat it, and that's when because he was going to go over there and idle out Jamie, and instead it didn't have to happen because they couldn't throw the challenge because Denise couldn't eat the balut or whatever it was, and then Aaron ends up getting voted out. I think it was that tribal. It was either Sharia or Aaron, but Aaron got totally screwed. If he made the merge, he would have been a player too. So, the casting for this season was great.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, very good.
So we're gonna see in all these seasons, the rest of these seasons, how great these casts were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Todd
So-
really, I mean, we haven't talked about Todd's strategic game and how fucking great he played it. I mean, just really manipulated the vote every time.
And then Amanda just was terrible at FTC too, so that helped.
Yeah.
She's just too emotional, dude. She
Amanda
can't
Kimmel bought me
handle it.
Final Tribals Part 1.
Yeah.
Part
We'll get to
one,
Part
yeah,
2
literally.
later.
Yeah, literally.
So,
Okay.
We mentioned it briefly, but one last thing. Like, what did you think about the idols in plain sight thing?
I love
It's
it.
just like a
I
big.
love
Me
it.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
And
too.
it was very
Free-for-all
smart
that
of
way.
James too. It was very smart of James too. Like, oh, this is what it is. That's right there. Let me go see if it's the idol too. Like, and it
Yep.
was like,
And it
I mean-
was.
I mean, sometimes it's that simple, and then not everybody thinks about that, and it was just nice to see somebody figure it out.
Like I also mentioned in Philippines, did the same thing. The little the emblem on top of all the rice containers was the idol, and none of them thought about it until they got the clue.
Yeah. I do remember that.
Yep.
All right, we beat the
With
secret
two
death, didn't we?
idols. Ugh.
Two idols. Two idols.
Two.
All right, let's go to number
All right.
8.
Number 8. This is the last one that really has a giant like gap in it. I mean, there's one later that's I'm shocked of how big it is, but this one's like the last really, really big one. Amanda, you have this season all the way up at number 3.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I know what it is.
I have it at number 9. Frank has it at 11, and James has it down at 15. It is season 33, Survivor Millennials versus Gen X.
James, 15? That's a crime.
Okay,
bro.
I admit it. I'm a little too low. If after re-looking at it, I would switch Token Cheens with Millennials versus Gen X. So Millennials, I think, should deserve to be 9, and so right around where it's at right now, and Token Cheens just deserves just a little bit lower. That's it.
All right, go ahead, Amanda. The floor is yours.
No, I started China. You go ahead and start.
Actually, let's let James start. James,
Yeah,
starts.
go ahead, James.
Like,
You're in the top 15.
all right, so I'm gonna get dogged for having it at 15, but like I think this is a great season still. Like having it at that
Yeah.
spot. I mean, my one complaint with it really is I think it is a really big cast, so a lot of these players that do make it further get sort of under edited because there is a huge focus on Jay and Adam and David, of course. But I think some of them get kind of under edited, and I mean it is a newer school season, so I feel like it's a very game body season, despite the story with Adam and everything, like him winning, like the story behind everything with that, and then with Jay and him bonding over that kind of stuff. I feel like a lot of these players are like just very strategic, which makes for a good
Definitely.
season, like I said. But I mean, the only reason I don't have it a little bit higher is because I feel like when I did watch this for the first time, I knew about Adam's story, and I did know that he won. So this was one of the few seasons that fell in the gap of when I wasn't watching Survivor live, and it was most of them I was not spoiled on the winner, but this one I was spoiled on the winner because I had remembered this being in the news about this guy who was a huge fan of the show, whose mom was dying, and he went out there and won the game, and she died like right when he got back and everything. I remember it was all over the news, and it was like, so
Yeah.
I had just known who he was going in and winning. So I think just the predictability of it for me, it's going to be more predictable when I know who wins. So I think for that reason alone, I probably have it at 15. But like, I still think it's a really good season. Like, we have a rock draw. Only the third time it ever happened.
Yeah.
Still only happened 3 times. I mean, I love Jay, David, and I love Adam. So I wasn't the biggest Ken or Hannah fan, or the biggest Will Wall fan. God,
Justice for Hannah.
but
I like him.
I mean, overall, it was good. We had a good pre-merge with the failed showmance, and then with Michaela getting blindsided. So there were good moments all around this season. And I think the most important thing is it kind of overcame a very cheesy theme, and this was kind of in the era where they love those cheesier themes, like with the Triple H, and then with this one.
Game
So I think
changers.
that it kind of overcame that because early on, Jeff was really out there saying some of the dumbest stuff, like, "Oh, so some of you spell U-Y-O-U, and some of you spell it with U." Like, who the hell cares, Jeff? Come on, like, there was some of that corniness early, but
He was trying to push the theme, and the rest of the players just wanted to play the damn game.
Yeah.
exactly. Like we got past that pretty early, which was nice to see. So like generally, I'll say like I think this is a really good season, but I just explained why I have it at 15, just because I was literally spoiled on the winner the first time I watched it.
Okay.
I absolutely loved this season when I first watched it. Like I saw this like watching it live, like watching Second Chance. Then this was 2 seasons later. I thought this was just another like version of Second Chance.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's a little lower. Like there are a couple dud episodes and some dud players out there, but my
Completely
God,
agree.
once that merge hits, whew, actually, really once the swap hits.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, really, the only first maybe 4 votes were, whatever. But
I'd say maybe,
after that, it hit the ground running and didn't stop.
I think the first one on Gen X was boring. I thought the Mari Blindside was pretty good, and watching stupid Hannah up there and basically refusing to vote, that Jeff had to go check on her.
Yeah.
But then
I
you
remade
get the Paul Blindside, you get David idling on Jessica,
Mm-hmm.
which for some reason David saves her with the idol, and then she decides to trust Ken. I'm like,
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
didn't make any sense. But also,
no sense.
the fact that this was the first rock draw I had seen live that didn't get spoiled. Because remember, for Blood versus Water, they said in the promo for that week during the rock draw, I don't know if anyone remembers, they said that a rock draw was happening. So there was no point, there was no surprise.
I didn't watch it.
Oh, really?
Live at that point. They said that?
Yeah, in the promo they said
That's
the first time in
crazy.
23 seasons there's gonna be a rock draw, and I'm like, why would you say that?
Yeah, that doesn't make any
Livid
sense.
Because you knew all this stuff leading in that it worked on Sierra, but we've already talked about Blood versus Water. Back to this season.
Yeah.
Old seasons of Survivor. If you read the descriptions, like you remember like cable description where it would tell you what the episode is about. It'll tell you
Voted out.
gets voted out. Yeah, some of the earlier ones do that.
Brother tells you,
Or they
who's on
tell
the
you
block
which
still.
tribe's
Yeah.
gonna learn. Yeah, they tell you which tribe's gonna lose.
But I remember that rock draw happening, and my jaw hit the floor when the rock draw happened. But there was no dull moment. Like once Figgy and Michaela go home, like there's no boring episode. There's nothing, doesn't miss a beat. The only thing I will say is I feel like the end game is very fast because remember they had the evacuation on day 2, I think, or day 3. So they lost a day or 2 of games. So I think like it was like Zeke and then Will Sunday. They all went back to back to back to back to back, and there was like no time to really see much gameplay. I get it was the end game, but still.
Yeah.
Those boots are very lumped together for me, like you said. I think that's like the 9, 8, and 7 boots because I think after that we had 6 left because we had Jay go and then we had Brett go.
Jay,
at 5.
Brett, and David during the finale.
Yeah. So we had 6 people in the finale that season. Yeah.
This was a great family visit. Great family visit episode if you like that kind of thing.
Also, I will say this season proved that the age twist can work.
Oh, yeah.
Because there were people thought it couldn't happen after how horrible Nicaragua was with dividing old versus young. This season proved that it's just the cast. Because this season was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Which season was it? The old women and then old men versus
Panama.
Okay.
It wasn't that relevant because they only did it for 1 round.
Okay.
It kind of just screwed one of the older women, but essentially is what it did. But yes, this season proved that the older versus younger twist can certainly work. And we had 2 completely different tribes, but that didn't really change. Like, it's not like they were all players that were just going to stick with their group the entire time. Like, there was a lot of like voting blocks and stuff this season rather than, I mean, there were some alliances that were really close. Like Ken was a really, really loyal player, but there was a lot
He
of
tried to claim
flip-flopping and
loyalty at
stuff.
Final Tribal after he just cut his number one. But I will. What was? I had one more thing I was going to say about the season. Keep going. It'll come back to me.
All right, so
The Jay and Adam moment in the hammock made me cry. Straight up. Straight up.
Well-
How do you like? How beautiful is it to see like two boys that hate each other, push each other and bully each other on a playground type of feel, and then end up becoming close friends. Like you just love seeing that.
So I loved this season. Even though I had a little ranked a little bit lower than some of the other people here. So I didn't. The Michaela Blindside might be my favorite pre-merge vote out of all time. It's so good. It's such a bad move by Jay, but it's so good. And when her reaction when she sees her name the second time, and then when she goes, "Did you do that to Jay's face?" And with the stone in his face, he looked at her, and you hear Hannah in the background, "I did not." And Jay goes, "Yeah, I did it," and just stared her into her soul. And as
Without
soon as
missing a beat, he said it too. She's like, "Did you do that?" And he's like, "Yep."
I did, and then there's like probably like 30 seconds, but it felt like forever. They're staring at each other, and she gets up and grabs her torch, but man, they're just like they're not blinking
She
or
didn't
anything.
stop.
I was like, is she about to hit him? But yeah, that was amazing. And then you got the rock draw, which was great. Zeke was great this season. We had just a lot of great characters and
Great opening episode, premiere episode.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
And not a lot of twists. Not a ton of twists.
We don't need them.
Interesting, Survivor. Not a ton of twists. And I'll give you a good cast and then let the game play out. So yeah, I just think this is like I said, we're gonna keep talking about the great cast. Like there's a reason why these seasons are up here. It's not because of one player. That's why some of these seasons that are enjoyed, if your favorite player did really well those seasons, that's the only person you're rooting for. And in these seasons, you kind of have your niche. You have the people you're following. David is one of my favorite non-winners. Like besides, if I could just forget about his edge game and just remember this game, I remember him much more fondly.
I agree. All right.
Also, big fan of Adam, like you said, big super fan. If I won, I feel like I'd be freaking out too. So,
I will also say, and this is the last thing I'll say about the season, that if I was in Adam's spot, no shot would I go out there and play.
No.
It takes a lot of courage to do what he did, and especially to go out there and win. And then for some people to discredit his win too and say he only won because of that, fuck you if you say that. No. Fuck you. Like, honestly,
Adam did not play a 10 out of 10 game, but he played good enough to fucking win.
And especially the two he sat with.
He won unanimously. Look who he was sitting with. He was going to win before he revealed any of that stuff.
Before Final Trial even started.
Exactly.
I think the only way you can claim that is if he was sitting with David.
Yeah. If he went to the end with David and Jay and he won, I could see that claim being legit.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Totally agreed. But with the final three,
not to keep going, but me and Michael got to meet Adam in person. Very awesome. Nice. Amazing. Literally, we'll talk to you like he's a fan, which he is. We know he is.
Your like audition video and stuff too. Like if you want to try to get on the show, like he does stuff like that.
He mentioned it to me when we were in there because I was talking to him and he's like, "Well, you really should. Like, you should talk to me." I haven't, but
of course, we're all scared to. Of course.
We'll get into my thoughts on Adam when we get to Winners at War because my feelings on him then are vastly different from what they are this season.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on to number 7.
All right. All right. Number 7. All right. We have sorry. Frank has the season the highest at number 6. James and Amanda both had this at number 8. I have it at number 10. Speak of the Devil, season 40, Survivor Winners at War.
Oh, let's go. We're gonna talk. Oh, we're gonna talk about this already.
Can I start?
Go ahead.
I'll start.
Sure.
All right. So I had just started watching live again for 39, and like when I had, by this point, I had seen every season of the show again and seen some that I had already seen again and again. Like I was all caught up in like the preseason and everything for this. So I was so hyped to see all these people come back, like see the cast reveal. Like I'm like, this is an even better cast than I thought they could have gotten for all winners. Like they've got Rob, they've got Tyson, they've got Kim, they've got Yule, they've got Tony, they've got
Ethan.
Sandra, they got Ethan, Parvati. Like they even got Amber to come back like hell. Like some of these people I didn't think I would see back. Like they have them back. And so you had to know like that a lot of these boots in this season, it was gonna personally sting and the boot order wasn't gonna be the best. Like we were going to be people we really liked and really wanted to see go far, go early. So if you can go in thinking that, and I sort of did that, I knew that was going to happen with a lot of those people. I feel like that makes it a little bit easier to like justify all these people you like going in the pre-merge. But ultimately, I have this season where it is because of Tony Vlachos, and I think we got the best winning game that I have ever seen. And personally, my number one winning game is Tony's game in this season. And yes, a lot of it is because he did it against all other winners, but I mean, this was better than his Kagayan win, hands down. He made mistakes in Kagayan. I don't think Tony made mistakes this season. I really find me a mistake that Tony made, maybe one or two minor ones. He hardly made any mistakes. He played this game pretty much as flawlessly as he could have, and he wasn't one of the people I saw going far winning this game. Like I thought he was going to be a pre-merge boot, especially after his appearance in Game Changers. So, like, yeah, like this season could be lower for some because they're so disappointed in the boot order, and because we got the freaking edge of extinction again. Like, God, why did they bring that back? We can go all into that. I'll probably let Michael handle most of that because I know he feels a certain type of way about that.
Was
But
Tony
ultimately,
a super fan before he
Tony,
played?
no,
No.
he was not. Ultimately,
Okay.
Tony winning this season feels like very salvageable, and it gave me the ending I was looking for, despite some disappointing things happening along the way. There was always Tony there for me to root for and to watch play this dominant game, and like that's why I feel like I can't have it ranked any lower than where I have it at number 8.
I'll go unless Frank
right.
wants to go.
Yeah, let me go. Okay. So this is the first season I watched where I super fanned out. I watched all the preseason interviews. I watched a bunch of preseason drafts. I did my first ever Survivor draft for this season. And I was so hyped for this season. Honestly, what holds it back from being like a upper echelon, like the top of the top or top 5, honestly, if they just either got rid of Edge or made the episodes 2 hours long. I don't know why when it's the height of the pandemic, nothing's on TV right now. They couldn't just bump it up for another 20-30 minutes so they could have got 2 hours worth. And that the blind side on Sophie is one of the craziest moves you'll
Yeah.
ever see. That episode's one of the greatest episodes of Survivor history, hands down.
Agreed.
You get the where he
Blindside too.
what
The
the Sandra
Sandra
blinds,
blindside
yes,
was insane.
Yeah.
saying yep, and we get when he gets the letter in his bag and he's so excited. He's like extortion. He's like, who am I gonna extort, man? He's all super excited, and then he realizes that it's on him, and he watch him go around and get these fire tokens from everybody so he doesn't have to lose his vote. He's like, yo, you guys are gonna need my vote, brother. And then he wins immunity. Then he pulls off an amazing blindside on his biggest competition left in Sophie. And if you let her
Don't
get any
forget he
further,
found an idol at the start of that episode.
oh yeah, he found the idol. Like the greatest episode probably one player ever had was that episode.
Don't forget his number one ally who he burned on that vote still went right back to work with them right after that.
Yeah.
So Tony could not have played this season better. Like all three, like I don't really care about that he won 3 immunities, but that wasn't something he did his first time. Was it 4? It was 4. And then, but I think and we know Tony's an amazing strategic player, but I think that his social game really shined this time around compared to in Kagayan, where it was more of a strategic win. I think this game he really showed how good he is all around. And I think he showed why, most people would say Tony is the greatest to ever play Survivor. Yeah.
To be honest, I think he showed not only that he's the greatest Survivor player, he's the greatest Survivor, in my opinion, and I don't think it's close. Character. He brings it all.
Yep.
He brings entertainment. He brings strategic, social, and he even brought physical. So he brings all aspects that Survivor wants. If Survivor could pick a perfect player, they would pick Tony because he would bring everything to the season. So to me, he's the perfect Survivor player as a viewer. And it just that's the reason why I have it so high. Don't get me wrong, the Edge sucks. The family visit episode was a downer, but I've never been so hyped for a Survivor for a season of reality TV as I was for this season. And so that's why I feel it'll hold a special place in my heart. And I got to experience it with a bunch of friends that I never got to really experience it with. I was watching by myself for a while. So it will always hold a special place in my heart about this season.
Chills when
Yeah.
Tony's sitting there at Final Tribal saying I played this game at night and at day. I played this game. The way he talked about his game and stuff, and then to get revealed as the winner with his family around him, it was, to me, that was one of the greatest experiences I've had watching Survivor. And I mean, it was awesome. Does anyone want to talk about the Edge?
Michael?
I mean,
listen. I also have negatives about this season, so if me and Michael want to go ahead and do the negatives, I'm good with that. Yeah, go ahead.
So I had this the lowest, so I guess I should hit the negatives, but I'm gonna still talk about what I want to say. I agree with what James said. To me, Tony's the best player who's ever played. This is the best winning game in all 44 seasons of Survivor that Tony played this season, hands down. But why in God's name is the Edge of Extinction here? This season should have been the number one season in Survivor ever. Cast, gameplay, it should have been number one, and Survivor did everything possible to make sure that didn't happen. Agreed. With the twists, with the Edge, with the fire tokens. It was so much unnecessary shit. They should have just let these winners go out there and try to play the best pure Survivor game possible. And they're like, no, we're just going to throw in everything we can at these people and let's see if they can handle it. No, play the fucking game. Don't let someone who was booted on day 2 come back in day 36 and think she has a legitimate chance to win the game. That's not fun for anybody.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. Another thing that bothered me about this season was the complete annihilation of old school players. I really would have loved to see a good mix of old school players and new school players get through this game together, and that absolutely did not happen. And to see Yule be the last old school Survivor left, and when did he go out?
Right before the merge.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's literally a shame. And then we have all these new school winners who are not as good as the old school winners. And I think a lot of us could probably agree with that, or at least come close to it.
Nick and Ben. And I
don't want to see these fucking people on my screen. I want to see Yule there. I want to see Sandra there. I want to see these absolute, not just winners, but Sandra fuck herself. I agree. But we've seen Sandra play well. And she deserves to be there. She was the first 2-time winner. It's just we have winners and we have legend winners, and I wanted to see a lot of these legend winners toward the end, or give them a chance, Ethan, who hasn't played since season 3. I just wanted to see more fairness in that sense, and it didn't happen. Of course,
that's on the players.
It is.
My gripes are with production, and
they should have done old school versus new school tribes. If they set it up like that, I feel like
Yes.
there were more guarantees from the like old schoolers to make merge and like they could still do a swap and stuff. But if they started the tribes like that, maybe things might have been
Did you really want to see
different. But
Bossy Rob
Also-
dominate a tribe? Did you?
No, so this
That's
is
what would
this
have
is
happened on that old school tribe.
this is what
Here's-
I would have
I
did.
would have also loved to see. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off, Frank. I just want to finish real quick. I would have loved to see this season as a one world. I know that sounds
Oh
crazy.
no, mute.
No,
Oh.
seriously. No, seriously. Let these players all be able to interact with each other.
No, why?
Why? Because
That's
they're the
not
best of the
Survivor.
best. Because
That's
I
not
want to see them
Survivor.
play together. It's not Survivor.
That's not
there's
Survivor.
two tribes. There's
I
three
wanna
tribes
s-
for a reason.
I'm sitting here complaining about them actually letting them play Survivor, and you're saying, nah,
different
let's just
season.
throw that out too.
I want
No,
to
I-
see them all interact with each other. That's what I want to
That's
see. I
not
want to see them
Survivor.
be able to interact with each other.
That's not Survivor.
Just
So-
for.
Huh?
That's what the merge is for.
Correct. All right, so this is what I would have did. For one, the way
Edge.
they put the tribes together was weird because they broke up Amber and Rob as a pair, right? But they kept Natalie and Jeremy on as a pair, and then they kept Sarah
Sarah.
and Tony as a pair, which is weird. Like, just swap them out. Like, it's not that difficult to send Sarah to the other tribe and send Natalie to the other tribe. You know, or Tony or Jeremy.
Maybe they wanted those duos to go each other. I mean,
On the blue tribe, especially the old schoolers like Parvati, Ethan, and Rob were kind of forced into working together just because like everybody just assumed like the newer school people in that tribe kind of morphed together around like Jeremy and Michelle, and then Natalie being looped into that, and Denise and Adam kind of chose that side, and Ben kind of chose that side over the old schoolers side.
After Natalie went home, they voted with Rob on that first vote.
The first one they did, yeah, and then
So it just and I would agree. I wish there were some more older school players. I feel like if this is a big season, like just bring more people on. Like if you wanted to cast all those new school players, bring 4 more and make it a giant cast of 24.
Here's what Survivor should have did. They should have said every single winner should have been invited to play. Whoever said yes plays.
That's
But
a lot of people.
I will also say, where is Chris Doherty? Where is Tom Westman? Where is Todd? Why are we seeing Nick and Ben
I think
out there
Tom was
who
asked.
aren't in the same field?
I think out of Shaper, like not as good health to play Survivor. He's an older guy. Like some people weren't gonna get asked no matter what.
Fabio
and then,
wasn't
like-
going to get asked.
Yeah.
Where's
No.
Horace?
RS would have been a decent one. I think that Tina was interested. Tina wanted to play. Like, bring your first female winner ever.
No, we've
I think
seen
she
her
was
3
on and they cut her.
times.
So we've seen Boston Rob, what, 5 now?
I know, but we've seen Tina
You
twice
just
come
complain.
back. No,
you
I'm
just-
not.
you-
No, I'm
you-
not.
Yeah, you are.
You
No,
just
I'm not.
complained about
We've seen Tina twice come back
Amanda.
as a winner.
You're just complaining about not enough old school representation. I'm trying to give it to you, and you tell me no.
I'm not disagreeing with
Australia.
you, Frank. No, I'm not. I'm literally saying she's already came back as a winner twice. They're not going to bring her back again as another winner again, a third time as a winner when they can have other winners who haven't even been on yet.
But
That's what I'm trying to say when y'all putting words in my fucking mouth.
I understand what Amanda's saying. Like I understand where you're coming from with that. For the production, I don't think for a season like this it should matter. I think they should try to just get their
Increase the
best
cast
winners
size.
out there. But like we can't act like they didn't get a great cast for this season still.
I
I
don't-
mean
I
they
don't think
did. They
But, like,
did.
I'm still going to complain about the people who didn't deserve to be. People who aren't in the same class as some of these winners out there who just didn't deserve to be there.
like Danny,
I was thinking Nick
Yeah.
and Ben, but
Nick, Ben, and
Nick
Wendell
and Ben
maybe.
for sure, and Danny
no,
and
I
Amber.
think Wendell's a little closer than the other two. The other two are just
Yeah,
morons.
Wendell's better, but
Dan and
they
Amber
still
were there 100% just to fill the female roles.
Who and
10
Amber?
million %. Danny and Amber.
but like this increased the cast size. You could have got Tina, you got Vesepia, who wasn't even asked. Earl
That
turned it
stung
down.
me.
Earl turned it down, so because he just had a kid, I believe.
Mhm.
24 for this season, though. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have definitely done 24. Nothing was on TV. So like this is the perfect like I know
To
they
be
cast
They
fair-
didn't know that.
To
They
be
didn't
fair,
know
they had
that.
it filmed before then.
correct,
Yeah, they
correct,
didn't know that it was going to
correct.
happen.
But like this is your Super Bowl. Like do something different that you haven't done before and just increase the cast size. Would anybody complain?
I would have not wanted to try to see them try to fit 24 people in an hour time slot. If they would
Increase the episode times.
Increase the
Make
episode
more
have done
time.
half an hour and a half, I'd be
Yeah,
cool
they
with
Yeah.
24
have to
person
do.
cast. But
Yeah.
trying to edit
Shut.
24 people's story.
Okay. We are on number 5. What is number 5, Michael?
All right, number 5. We're covering the last one in double digits. After this, everybody will have everything in single digits. Amanda is keeping this outside of the top 10. She has this at number 11. Frank has this the highest at number 3. James has it at number 6, and I have it at number 7. Season 37, Survivor David versus Goliath.
You're way too low on it, Amanda. It's too low. I love this is my this is the best like modern season, even better than Winners at War. Like the last like 10 years, 10 seasons, this is the best. It's to me, it's the best obviously since like, there's one later on. But I think the cast is amazing. I think the theme is fun. So it's not like it's one of those things that's like how Jeff was shooting in Millennials versus Gen X and it just kind of got annoying. It was kind of fun seeing the dynamics of somebody like a Christian and then seeing somebody like when the brochachos, it was just a fun dynamic seeing those two types of players interact with each other. And the blind sides we've seen this season were Chef Kiss, like Natalie, can I get your jacket? All time moment. It just the split minority vote, which has never been done before, just very tricky and very risky to do. We see the IO nullifier for the first time.
Fire, yeah.
Yeah. And then we see the Davids fight to get the majority, and then instantly give it back because they flip on the Godfather and vote him out. And I love this season so much. I love all the characters. I love the players. This is probably, like I said, this is the best like newbie cast to one later on, and so this is legit my second favorite newbie cast. So,
What I love about this season is I feel like the whole cast brought something to the table. Whether they were a great player or a great character, most of them checked at least one of those boxes, and it was just an unpredictable ride, like week in and week out. And we may have not gotten the best winner from the season, but to me that didn't even matter. I like Nick. I'm not a huge Nick hater. I think he played decently here, even though he was lost on a couple votes and kind of had to win his way to the end. I mean, he won the challenges when they really mattered, and I guess took advantage of Mike not wanting it as much. And I mean, he was part of a few really big moves, including the minority split vote. I think Nick gets a lot of credit for that move, along with Christian and Davey, but Nick was definitely a big part of that. But yeah, like I don't even think the winner of this, like a lot of people like a season like Edge of Extinction, where they think it was kind of entertaining, but they're more soured by the winner. I think that's more because of like production and the twist here. I feel like even though people don't like it, like even though people don't like Nick Wilson like Michael, I think that it doesn't bring the season down as much because it was a ride, like with the idol plays, with the minority split vote, we had some great pre-merge tribals. Natalie, can I have your jacket is freaking iconic. I'll never forget that. I think when Natalia was voted out, she had that like pissed off like exit. I think she looked at Alec and Alex starts like smiling. She's like, It's just
Stop
the game.
smiling.
Like, yeah, stop
Stop
smiling. Like this season had the drama. It had the gameplay. It had the characters. It literally had everything. Like Frank said, I think even though we're in technically a new era now, I think the seasons post Winners at War should strive to be like this season, because I think this season delivers, and it shows that, kind of like Big Brother 20 showed. Like I think it shows that modern Survivor can be effective and be one of the best seasons of the show, really.
All right, Amanda, why is it not a top 10 season?
Nick winning is definitely the reason why it's not a top 10 season for me. Because I thought Nick was a terrible winner. I thought it was awful. I hated seeing him win. I think he should have just went ahead and went home on the first tribal like he was fucking supposed to. Yeah, I just
true
was very...
either. That's not true, actually. That was an edit thing. He actually was not going to go home. But
Anyway, so it just, the way, I don't know, I feel like the edit didn't do him any favors. I felt like, yes, it was a very good season with like characters and great moments, but like seeing Nick win out of all of that was not it for me. I'm not even like a Nick hater now, because like everyone hates Nick now, but like I was a non-Nick fan when I watched it the first time around. That's another reason why I think I have this season maybe ranked a little low, is I've never watched it on a rewatch. I would like to watch it on a rewatch and maybe see how Nick played his game, but I'm basing my own, rankings off of just watching it one time, with not being spoiled. I like Christian. I think Christian's great television, but I don't want to see him on Survivor again. I think that one time was enough for me. I'm not huge on Christian like everybody else is, which also probably also brings it down for me a little, like compared, like I'm not saying it's a bad season at all. I have it very, very high. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously like top 25%. So it's not, I don't consider it bad whatsoever. And I enjoyed watching it, but there was just, I don't know. I felt like it was good, but not iconic. I had to watch the next episode. I understood everyone's game and what they were doing, and everyone stood out. I just didn't get that feeling from David versus Goliath like everyone else did. Now, I will say that I will give it another try. I will rewatch it and then see if it raises in my rankings a little bit. But so far, I'm happy with where it's at. And I understand that I am the minority in that thought. I know a lot of people have David versus Goliath their top 10, if not top 5.
I remember when I did my originally did my rankings. It was before I even did David versus Goliath on a rewatch. I had it 7, rewatched it. I think it's perfect where I have it. As Amanda alluded to, I'm kind of in the same boat as her. I am not a Nick fan. I've never been a Nick fan. I didn't think he deserved to win when I watched it back. When I watched it the first time on the rewatch, I thought he deserved to win less than he did the first time. But I think Mike got totally screwed at the end because they wanted David to win. I will disagree with you, Frank. I don't think this theme was a good idea. I think it was extremely cheesy, and he tried shoving it down our throat. But then the cast was too good that it just kept going, like Millennials versus Gen X.
They both overcame the cheesy themes.
Exactly.
I totally agree there.
And I will disagree with what Amanda said. I feel like once the merge hit, like the merge episode, little flat. After that, it was amazing. There was not a single dud episode the rest of the way. Even the pre-merge, I thought there was maybe one dull episode, and everything else was pretty good. Like the cast was incredible.
I think it was.
The gameplay was really well done.
Too,
even for a new school season, there wasn't too many advantages. I thought the auto nullifier coming in, I do think it's a little overpowered, but the way it was played kind of made it work. I don't know. I will never be a big fan of it. But there was no the advantages were not shoved down our throats, I don't feel like. And I thought everything just balanced out really well, where we got a great season if we had a so-so below average winner.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot of people return from this season too if they do bring back people pre.
They better. I don't want Nick
era,
being the only person to ever come back from this season.
Yeah, because I feel like
you
got. I feel like the two that will be locks to return are Angelina and Christian.
Ugh.
And then you could throw I really did Davey, Carl, Alec, John Hennigan, even Natalie pre-merge. Can I have your jacket? I'd like to see any of them play again. I mean, give me any of them. I think there's gonna be so many people who come back from this season.
Angelina should stay as far away from my TV as possible.
Particularly Angelina, Christian, and Davey. I would like to see all three of them again.
I would look. I don't think Nick is an amazing winner, but I just don't think he's dog shit like Michael.
No,
said.
he's
really
not
bad.
that bad.
He's
No.
bad.
And
He's
I
bad.
think Mike White lost it mainly for his tribal council performance more than anything.
Well, they knew he was already rich too. You can't tell me that doesn't play
But
a factor.
that
It has to play a little bit of a factor.
Look, of course it does, but he also has
Yeah.
to factor that into who he's going with. If he knew that they were going to hold that against him, he should have went with somebody else. Like he should have handled the
most of the time that they're going to hold that against you. You're not winning against who, no matter who you sit with.
Do you think he loses with Angelina and let's say
Kara doesn't beat either. Kara doesn't beat Nick.
I would like to think he wouldn't, but at the same time, like, if they were not going to let him win because he was already wealthy, like they're not going to let him win. Period.
That's fair, but like
we'll be just defending the fact he doesn't need the money. Let's give it to someone else. Like I feel like that was a reason why Nick won.
You think, Michael? If say it's Kara, Angelina, and Mike in the final three, you think Kara takes home the win and is kind of like a bad winner like Nick is? Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah. Okay.
I think Kara would be a worse winner than Nick.
I think she would too.
I think it's the same.
This is my thing. Like Nick, all right, he was lost on a couple of votes, but like in a season like this where it's so fluid and like alliances change and think like people don't just stick with the same group and vote the same group, like that can happen to someone who knows what they're doing and knows how to play the game. And I mean, Nick did make good relationships and position himself well for most of the game. And then, I mean, he, like I said, I don't love like relying on immunities, but he won them when they mattered. And in the end game of this, all the people who were big threats were kind of really just tanked his own game at the end. So I don't really think you could say Nick is. I think there's much worse winners than Nick.
For sure. I don't think he's in the bottom tier. I think there's a bottom tier of like 5 or 6 that are on their own tier. I don't see him being in that tier.
He's not there, but he's like
I don't see him being there, but he's right. Yeah, I'm with Michael. He's like right above it. And I tell you what, they're like I'm not as big Christian fan as the rest of the people are, and I didn't like Gabby, and then I didn't like Nick. And there's just like a couple of, I don't know, there's like 3 or 4 people in the merge. I was just like, I really don't care for these people. I don't really want to watch them on my television. And I think that was what just, I don't know, just kind of brought it down for me. I'm not saying that every game doesn't have their merge duds, because they definitely do. But for this, I don't know. I just didn't get under the spell of David and Goliath like everybody else did, I guess.
See, I love Christian. I love Gabby. I love Davey. I love most of the merge people. Angelina, my queen. I love her.
I know you love Angelina.
Oh my goodness, she brought so much great TV. So much great TV.
I wouldn't say she's like my favorite player by any means, but I enjoy seeing her there, and I think she's worthy of playing again for entertainment purposes.
Please no.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Please, yes.
No, I've literally said before, if Angelina ever plays Survivor again, I'm watching her on mute.
Oh my goodness.
I honestly, I really just don't think there's a problem with this. Besides, like Nick not being a top tier winner, other than that, I have no complaints about this season.
I mean, that is to me is a big complaint
really
because I feel like
love
there was a much better choice next to him. If it was just a dog shit final 3 and Nick won, oh well. But
yeah.
I don't know, that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth at the end of the season. But everything else in the season was so great, I couldn't bring it any. I couldn't. I can't drop out of my top 10.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, do you think it was a bitterness, or do you think Mike kind of flopped the final tribal council? Because that's what I kind of think.
I don't think it was bitterness. I think Mike definitely should have done better at final tribal, but I also feel like they might have had their minds made up going in already.
Mike did no favors for himself at FTC.
No.
Where his answers were pretty dull and pretty like
And I'll give Nick a little credit. I mean, the dude's a lawyer. Like, he's gonna know how to talk.
Right. Where Mike was kind of like mellow toned and kind of just chill. and relax. Nick did show passion, which a lot of people like to see that sort of thing. So it all depends on the
Right.
jury. It all depends on the people you're playing with. Each jury, each player wants to see something different.
I think, and this is the last thing I'll say about this, so we can move on. I feel like if this was a final three in front of like a more experienced like a returning jury, I think Mike wins. I think just the jury it was. I think that's why Nick won.
Are you sure? I feel like returning juries are worse. Almost
Not with the game that Nick played. No,
most of them. Heroes vs villains, bitter.
ugh, we'll get
All
into that.
stars, bitter.
Ugh.
Kara
We'll get-
Moen, bitter. They're the bitterest juries. Besides Cambodia, even Cambodia, they're bitter.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
All
All
right.
right, let's go to number 4.
All right. We were all basically right there on this one. Amanda and I both had it at number 4. Frank and James both had it at number 5. Season 16, Survivor Micronesia, fans versus favorites.
Another bitter jury.
What a great season.
God.
Boring ass pre-merge, but fantastic merge.
Yeah, and the pre-merge was still interesting, even though it was a little slower. But this is maybe you can make the argument this is the best post-merge of any season of Survivor.
Oh, it's
Dude,
up
make the
there.
argument.
yeah, it's very, very up there. And just, I mean, yeah, it's a little biased with the favorites and like, you know, into that merge, like we all knew the favorites were going to make the end. There's just no doubt about it. But to see Parvati play the game that she played was just fantastic. The Black Widow Brigade is probably top 3 alliances of all time. I mean, you just can't complain. Eric looking like a big old doofus, just like he was the whole game. And just, that's just how I feel about you guys about Dave vs. Goliath. I have no complaints about this season. I've seen it 3 times. I'll watch it a 4th gladly.
Pre-merge. That's my bit. That's my.
Hey,
I mean,
guys.
Yeah.
you can say the pre-merge, but at the same time, like it was a little slow because especially after the swap. But I mean, like there was still no point in dragged. Those episodes were still good.
Mhm.
They're still good episodes, but it's just like you watch them build their story up, which makes a lot more sense into the merge. You know, of where people stood and how they felt about each other. I wouldn't say the votes were very interesting, but the episodes themselves were good with some great content.
I
Survivor
totally
gave us
agree.
what we wanted. Yeah.
And just remember
Absolutely.
too, this is a season with 2 medevacs and a quit too. So like this season did kind of go quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It went quickly, but it was just like a lot of really great story punches. Like I think the edit shines a lot this season. Probably some of the best editing ever with Survivor.
Fucking stick.
That's one of
That's
the
what I had to
craziest
say.
things.
I
Craziest
love
thing I've
Eliza,
seen.
dude.
But just think of those episodes like back to back. You have Eliza with the fucking stick, goes home. Ozzy has the real idol in his pocket, goes home. Then Jason 5-3 hit an idol. He goes home.
Goes home.
And then you
So-
have, I think, what James got medevac, and then Amanda actually found the idol, played it, and Alexis goes home.
Alexis goes home. So we have all right, let's just
Dude, that
recap
Alexis
this.
bow was crazy.
And then the episode after that is
Oh.
Eric.
Yeah.
We have a
Yes,
fake
even
we have a
better.
fake idol play. A fake idol play. Ozzy goes home with an idol in his pocket. Jason goes home with an idol in his pocket. Then we get a medevac. Then we get a successful idol play. And then we get whatever the hell
One of
Eric
the worst moves.
was
And
thinking.
there's probably 2 of the worst moves in Survivor. I'll give Ozzy a little bit of a pass because I feel like his wasn't as blatant. Jason, what are you doing not playing that idol, dude?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, I think
Or Jason, yeah.
you like
Jason's so stupid.
really like with the fans on this season, like obviously Amanda said like it was obviously a favorite was going to take control and run this thing to the end basically, but the fans weren't the greatest game players, but like some of them did give us those moments like Jason and Eric just with the almost with the clown music playing in the background, I guess, just with
for sure.
what the games they were playing out there. And then in the pre-merge, you had You had Joel dragging Chet through the challenges and stuff and yelling
That
at
shit
him.
was funny.
Oh,
And that
God.
was I'll never forget watching.
I don't care.
Kid
I
like
know.
that.
So
That was
funny.
so funny.
Dude, Ozzy and Amanda's romance through that
Oh.
season lives rent free in my brain. Like them making out on the beach, so gross.
And
Him
Ozzy's
like
final.
professing his love to her during FTC.
That was tough to
Ozzy's
watch.
final
Such
tribal
good
speech
TV.
during that season was so cringe.
So cringe.
So funny. So funny. And Amanda just looking like she's gonna cry the whole time.
Again.
Again.
Ozzy being
Oh.
such a little bitter bitch.
I mean,
How could you guys do that to me, your friend? I'm your friend.
Oh.
That's what I mean. I'm
Ozzy
telling
had
you.
it coming because he was cocky the first time he played, and he was even fucking cockier this time. And
yeah, he got humbled pretty
he
bad.
got his comeuppance. I think. I mean,
Yeah.
I was a Team Yule and Cook Islands, but in this season, I still liked Ozzy though. But this season, I really didn't like Ozzy at all. By the end of it,
he got what was coming to him, and it was.
I was
fucking glorious.
devastated when Penner went home.
Oh,
I'm
me
not
too.
a big Penner fan, so
When
I was like,
Jonathan Penner
I
went home, I
love
was
Penner.
devastated. Oh, I was devastated when
Bad,
Penner
yeah.
went home.
I was like, bye. Now I get to watch some people actually play the game for real.
I think they
God, this was a
they
good
did
season.
a
It makes me want to rewatch it again.
they did a good job with the favorites casting here too, for the most part. I mean, we did have if it would have been nice to see Fair Play actually play the game, but some people say he's a wasted spot because apparently he kind of asked to be voted out the first tribal. Like
Yeah, he
he had
Yeah.
stuff going on.
Yeah, because he went through. Yeah, he had oral surgery, and they wouldn't let him take his prescription pain medicines after his oral surgery. And he said the pain was just too much. Like he literally couldn't take it. He had to have his meds. So, but,
Just had a kid or was having
I think his wife was having a kid too.
having a kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
The fact that's the last time we've seen Johnny Fairplay is a crime.
I feel like he kind of screwed himself.
It's
He
because
should
Jeff
have just said
hates
no and waited until Heroes versus Villains. But I feel like what happened then, I don't think Survivor wants him back.
Mhm.
And now they're like that bridge is burned, I think. But
He's
oh
somebody
yeah,
I'm
Jeff
surprised.
hates him.
I'm surprised he hasn't got called for Australian Survivor. To be honest.
Me and Michael met Johnny Fairplay.
He may not want to do it. Oh, we did.
Yeah. He's
Amanda's
exactly
dream,
the same
have a joke
person
with
as
Johnny
he is on
Fairplay.
television. Yes, I wanted to smoke weed with him so bad.
Why? So you can
He
hear him
kept
talking about Blue
disappearing.
Chew the whole time?
I don't give a shit. I just want to say I smoked weed with Johnny Fairplay.
Oh.
all right. So as great as Parvati was in this season, do we feel Suri was robbed?
Yes.
Should it have been a final three, and would Suri have won the
Yeah.
game?
Well, to me,
Because
I think it was
Yes.
going to be a final three until James got medevaced.
hmm
I think James's medevac screwed it up.
I don't. Rob is hard to say because like it's something that happened within the game, so it's not like it's production just kind of screwed her over. They kind of
Production could have kept it a final three.
they could have, but like they got to get their days in. So
They would have had the days in. Just do what they did in Caramo and make the final four immunity challenge a reward challenge.
yeah,
And
they did
your
the same
final
thing.
three
Call
immunity
wrong.
challenges back to final four.
They did the same thing. Call wrong. But
Like, there's always a way around it. Like, to me, it was clear production was like, okay, we're making this a final two. Because why the fuck would you have an 8-person jury?
right.
Like, what would have happened? It was a 5-3 vote. What would have happened if one of those poverty votes voted for Amanda?
Right. Who knows?
So I do put it on production.
That's fair. But
They better not vote for
I do
me.
think Suri would have won if that was a final three.
yeah,
I do too.
it's just some like
Yeah.
they had some iconic moments. Just like you said, the merge has banger after banger after banger episodes.
Oh yeah.
Right back after each other. But yeah, it just the pre-merge was a little slow for me, but the fans sucked overall.
Yeah.
But the favorites made it a great season.
I think if you made a list of
Definitely.
probably the top 20 episodes of Survivor of all time, I feel like there's at least 2 episodes from this merge that are on that list.
Yeah.
I think the
Oh,
Ozzy
yeah,
Blindside and the
definitely.
Eric vote out, I think are probably both
Yeah.
there.
And then I mean
That was
potentially
fantastic.
either the episode with the Eliza vote out or the Jason vote out too, or I would consider those to be great episodes as well. But the other two for sure, yeah, I would say for sure.
Yeah.
top
Like those
20.
are some of the best in the history of the show.
Yeah.
This is also another case where, like we said, Suri, we could claim her to be robbed and stuff, but really, like Suri, Parvati, and Amanda, and even Natalie, I think, all played fantastic this season. I really do believe that.
Oh, they were all great players. I feel like we all kind of knew that Natalie wasn't going to win because she was the obvious fourth place, that the three favorites were going to take each other.
Yeah.
But she still, I'm stunned she has never played again.
I don't think she wants to, does she?
Well, no, something happened. I think she was supposed to be on Heroes versus Villains.
To come back one time at least, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I think Amanda had a chance here again, which is the other thing.
And she fucked
And
herself.
she part two.
Yeah.
It was China part two because, I mean, she really is one of the only people that has had a chance of winning that has had a horrible final tribal council, and she's done it twice. So
In a row.
so ever since then, like instead of being known as, like, some people remember her as a great player, but I feel like the thing she's most known for now is being the girl that was really bad at final tribal councils.
I mean, give her a little bit of credit. She
Does
went
Amanda
108
still
days
hold
of
the
survival
record
without getting voted out.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, does she still have the record for playing the most days?
Not most days, no. Most days without getting voted out, yeah.
Okay.
Would need to come back and get like 8th place, 7th place.
Michelle would
or
have to
better,
play
I think.
31 days if she played again.
Yeah, and they don't do that.
Mhm.
If they don't do that anymore,
Exactly.
she's no chance. Yeah.
Yawn. I don't want to see Michelle on there anyway.
Hater.
All right, let's go on to number 3.
All right. I think I might get Amanda going here a little bit.
Oh boy.
So
In a good way
Amanda,
or bad way?
We'll find out. Amanda has this at number 1. James has it at number 2. Frank has it at number 4. I have it at number 6. Season 20, Survivor Heroes versus Villains.
Michael, you having a number 6 is a joke. I'm just gonna say it. Out of your top
Should
5,
be number
is
2.
a joke.
It should be number 2.
It's a joke. It should at least be in your top 5. I'll slide. It would be in number 3, 4, or 5 if you've watched it 10 million times and you're over it. But the fact that it's out of your top 5 is asinine.
I agree.
Honestly, the more you watch it, the more it drops.
Asinine.
Go ahead. I'll talk after.
No, I disagree. I disagree 100%. I've watched Heroes versus Villains so many times, and I have enjoyed it every single watch through. I think
Seen
it's
this
fantastic.
the most out of any. I think this is the season I've seen the most, and I completely agree. You can know exactly what's going to happen, and this season delivers. I mean, straight up, this is probably, I mean, aside from Winners at War, the best cast we ever had potentially, and just given the theme, I mean, people were gonna obviously, for the most part, stick to those lines, and I can see how that sort of affected the gameplay later on and made it a little bit more predictable. I think hands down, this is the best pre-merge of the show, hands down, in my opinion.
Definitely.
I mean, in the pre-merge alone, we had, I think, 2 of the best tribal councils we've seen, like altogether, 2 of the most game-changing tribal councils, where Suri goes home, and then when Tyson essentially votes himself out, and then another one really right before the merge when Rob goes home. Like those 2 last villains tribal councils before the merge, not the merge, before the jury, I guess, completely changed the game, completely changed everything. Because
I also think. Oh, go ahead.
If Coach doesn't flip on, if Tyson isn't stupid there, and Russell goes home, everything's completely different, obviously. And then after that, even if Tyson's gone, if Coach doesn't flip on Rob and Rob doesn't go home that's a completely different game at the merge. So like there was just there was so much going on here, and I mean, just iconic episode after iconic episode for the most part. And then, I mean, you do have a couple boring ones, but uh, I don't know. I think this season is so remembered and for good reason. Like I could watch it so many times and still enjoy it.
All right. So
Frank,
you
you
guys
wanna
want to
go
hear the
before I tear it
negatives?
apart?
Yeah, I'll give you some negatives for one. For one, you said the pre-merge is amazing. I say a pre-merge is 3 votes. The rest is pretty boring. The fact that Coach is on the jury is ridiculous when he is voted out before the merge. I hate merge people
Well, that's
not being on the
stupid. I
jury.
didn't. I
It's
didn't say that
terrible.
on the show.
And then like it becomes a belonging once the merge hits after the first exciting vote. You have like 1 or 2 more exciting tribals, but I feel like each time I watch it, I like it a little bit less. I think the Tyson blindside is amazing. I think the Suri vote out is great. I think Rob getting caboosed out of the game gives me such satisfaction. But after
Boo.
like once you get to the merge boot and we get to see JT get sent out, that's great too. But then it kind of like, okay, here goes this hero, here goes this hero, here goes this hero. And you get to hear I'm not a big fan of James, and the fact that he's on the hero tribe is ridiculous. He is no hero. That man was a dick on all 3 of his seasons.
I mean, I think he was the most on this season. I think he was a hero more just being this big, strong guy that was there more as a character than a player, really.
Mhm.
Like, so I could see why they put him on that tribe. I don't understand a couple of the other choices, like why was Sugar on the heroes tribe?
Yeah, Sugar was now no hero either.
Why was Candace on the heroes tribe? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Why was Candace on the game? Why was she even casted?
Yeah,
She
for the
came
most.
back three times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she played 4 times,
Played
right?
3 times. No, she's played 3 times.
Would you agree though that for the most part the casting was pretty strong for
No,
this season?
I agree the casting was
Yeah.
strong. It just
I question some of the people they put on the tribes.
I do agree that
Yeah.
I question some of that, but I do feel like it gets slow at certain points. Like the middle part where they're not quite merged, but they're having people on the jury. That for those 2 to 3
Yeah.
episodes are a struggle
That-
to get through.
The coach boot and the Courtney boot,
Yeah,
those are my least favorite episodes of the season. Even after the JT screw up and boot, where you know the heroes are going to go the next couple rounds, I feel like there is still like, at least when watching it for the first time, the edit gives you that glimmer of hope that people might flip and things might get flipped around, like more so than other seasons with the way people are playing. But I agree. I think my biggest gripe with this season is the people being on the jury
Yes.
that didn't make the merge. It's stupid.
So dumb. Also, I'm not a big. I think Sandra played the worst out of the 3, strategically wise. But I do understand Russell was an idiot and burned his jury votes. But Sandra literally set out from like episode 2. My goal in this game is to get out Russell. So that means you failed the entire season because you couldn't get out Russell. And she even said that in her FTC speech. My goal this game was to get out Russell, but I couldn't do that. So you basically failed the whole season and you won the game.
At 100%. Like, people might think if the jury is going to be bitter towards Russell, then why are you going to hold it so much against Parvati too?
Correct.
Which they did, and
They did.
and that's my issue there. But like, I can't have this any lower than number 2. It was my number 1 season for the longest time, and I will admit some of that is nostalgia. I was
Yeah.
like a freshman in high
Definitely.
school, and this was on, and watching it week to week, like I'd never been more invested in Survivor like as a kid than I was at the time. Like that was pre like big internet days, and I was still finding like websites to go on to like where people were talking about Survivor and stuff, and that was the first time I really had experienced any of that. And another thing I'll say is I'm weird about Boston Rob. Like some seasons of Boston Rob, he's not my favorite and everything. I loved Boston Rob on this season. I was
he
so
cried?
sad.
He
No,
cried like a little bitch.
he was all right. I like seeing got people play different games. Okay, you don't go out there and play the same game every time out. Rob pretty much does. Aside from this game,
So
Rob was
Parvati.
Rob was a hero, I think, on this season, and I mean, he was the hero of the villains tribe, really. And if he had gotten to the merge instead of Russell, I just think it's a completely different game. It's just wide open if
Yeah.
Rob goes there with his numbers. And I don't know, like Russell's just he's such a little troll, and it's just seeing him on Samoa and then seeing him go out there and do the same thing this time. Like I liked Russell a lot more the first time around.
Yeah.
By
And
the
I
end of the
love
season,
Russell this season.
I was
Me
sick
too.
of Russell by the end of this season.
Oh.
Sick
I
of
loved
him.
it.
I will say this probably has, if not the best, one of the best premiere episodes. Just them
That's what I was
all
gonna
arriving
say.
on the beach,
Yeah.
and then have that first physical challenge, and things get real. Like it feels like an epic season. They
Like
present it
rock.
as an epic season.
Stephanie's
Because it
shoulder out.
is.
Yes, and look, I have it at 4. I don't have it like
Yeah,
low, but
Yeah.
like
You guys
I
are
just there's certain things that just pull it back for me where I feel like other seasons don't quite feel that way. I feel like there's a couple boring episodes which pull it back for a little bit for me, and then Sandra as a winner. Like I think Sandra's a really good player. Like I don't think she's a bad player, but I just didn't think this season you can't sit there and say my goal this season was to get this person out and then fail the entire season, then win the game. It just takes it down a little bit to me.
I think Jerry would have been a good winner this
Yes.
season.
They agreed that Jerry would have won.
She
if
would have
Jerry
won.
or Parvati, I would have been okay with.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with Russell, but I understand why Russell lost.
Yeah.
You can't call people dumbasses right to their faces, Russell. You're not going to get their vote.
And like this goes back to what I was just saying. I'll harp more on Russell. Like I love a good villain game. Don't get me wrong. I love it. Like the first time what he was doing, like it was cool. Like he was talking shit about people in the confessionals and stuff. Like he was an asshole, but he wasn't as much of an asshole to people's faces. Like in the way he played this game, it shows me like you have no idea like the way like you have to treat people a certain way, or if you get to the end, you are not getting their vote. And like Russell's
Right.
never seemed to understand that, and like that's what pisses me off about him. And it's why by the end of this season, like him claiming he was like robbed twice. It's like, no, Russell, you don't know how to treat people. You're not going to vote for you at the end. Like, I'm
Right.
sorry.
All right, Michael, let's hear what you have to say.
I was waiting to see when I was going to get a word in, but so I will kind of touch on everything. So I agree. The premiere episode was great, and most of the pre-merge was bordering on, I'd say, excellent. Like there was a lot of good episodes in the pre-merge up until when Rob goes home. When Rob goes home, that was a good episode. They should have merged them right there, especially on a season with no swap. Why are you letting them go 10 rounds without a swap to go to merge? You know they're just going to stick by lines. And those, ironically, were the 2 worst episodes of the season. And they started the jury at that point. There's no reason for them not to have merged at 12. And the season's completely different if they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd say a hero probably wins if they do that because Sandra, Courtney, and Coach probably all flip to work with them. Russell can't hide I'm working. The girls are all working together because Coach would have blown them up. And it's just such a – I know they can't fix – like they can't change the season once it starts, but why did they do that? Especially in Samoa the season before, they merged them at 12 with no swap. Final 3, jury 9. Why didn't you do the same thing here?
Mm-hmm.
The merge episode was good. That post-merge after that was brutal to get through. Absolutely brutal.
What?
What do you mean, what? It was a Pagangan. You knew
Dude,
exactly what happened.
No
I wouldn't say
way.
brutal. There was
boring.
Not
some
brutal.
predictable.
That's you're being over dramatic. That's what
No,
you're
it was
doing.
a
I'm
couple
not
boring
saying
as
you're
all
wrong,
hell.
but you're being over
Like
dramatic.
if I rewatch Heroes and Villains, I stop after the merge episode
Whatever.
because the
That's
3 episodes
so
after that are
bogus.
terrible.
Yeah.
The finale's good, but bad winner. Parvati should have won. Too bad Jerry didn't get to the end. I'm not upset Russell lost, but I'm upset that Sandra won. if you gotta get where I'm going. And no, I don't think the season belongs in the top 5 out of nostalgia. Because to me, it's not that nostalgic because half the people who were on the season played before I started watching. So I don't have this idea in my head with this as I do with we're going to get the second chance, as I did with that, or with Winners at War when I finally had caught up with everything. Like, I just don't have it with this season, and I've watched it a lot, and it doesn't get better as you watch it. It gets worse. So I don't feel like it has to be in the top 5 just because it's heroes versus villains. No. I think the 5 I have above it are better than it.
That's fair. I'm not too far. I'm like right between you two. Like I said, I think the premiere episode is great. I do agree that once JT goes home, it kind of was like boring episode, and then they flip one round and they flip another round, but really are those rounds very exciting? Who went home? Candace. Whoa, hoop-de-doo. Amanda, like, Candace is like, look, Candace played 3 times. Has she played a good game?
No.
Well, to be fair, she's only realistically played twice. They screwed her in Blood versus Water.
Yeah, but like she was awful in Cook Islands. And she was pretty bad in Heroes vs. Villains. And she got screwed in Blood versus Water. So yeah, I just she made it deep, and her vote off was like, oh, Russell was upset about, but like that was the only thing that happened. Once that happens,
pretty good on this season, Colby. I said, you know who played pretty good on this season, Colby. Talk about goats, man. Someone should have dragged that dude to the end because he did.
No, he would have won because he was a hero.
Yeah, but he did nothing.
Nothing.
Like,
we would have had a worse winner. He would have been a worse winner than Sandra was by far.
Oh God.
He didn't do anything.
Talk about getting worse each time you go out there.
Yeah, it was like Jerry was the opposite of Colby. She improved every time out there.
She was a better player each time. Colby was a worse player.
They played the same 3 seasons.
Can you imagine if Colby didn't play All Stars and this was the next time we seen him? Like how bad he was pretty bad in All Stars.
The real fall from Gracie.
But he was awful in Heroes vs. Villains. And the self-righteousness of him, like the arrogance of him was just so ridiculous. It's like Colby.
What was worse? What was worse? Him getting owned by Coach in that first reward challenge, or when he has to go the individual immunity challenge on the double tribal when James with one leg beats him in a challenge?
Oh God!
Oh God! Yeah, James even called him out. He's like, Superman got body slammed by Coach.
Yeah. Hey, Colby getting owned by Coach. God, he might as well become a woman.
God, I love Tyson.
But yeah, like, look, I do enjoy that. I think it's not a bad season. Like,
it's not bad.
Obviously, it's not a bad season. Come on.
It's just not as good as what everyone says it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And it's deserving of my number 1 spot, and I will never take it out of my number 1 spot. And I haven't even got to fucking talk about my number 1 season since y'all want to talk so much shit about it the whole time.
Go ahead, talk about
it.
Go
ahead, keep talking.
It is. Listen, let's go back to some of Amanda's favorite seasons before 20. 7, 13, 15, 16. Okay, and then you take all of my favorite people from those seasons, and then you literally make me a season for that. Like, it has Coach, it has Courtney, it has Parvati, it has literally like all of my favorite survivors like jumbled together on this season, and it's just perfect. Like, perfect for me, perfect. Not to mention the iconic moments, like you guys were saying, iconic moments with like David versus Goliath, like banana etiquette, the JT letter, pretty much every single one of Tyson's confessionals. Like, it's just such amazing entertainment. Coach is like seeing Coach in the merge, hilarious. Like seeing Robbie a crying little bitch, hilarious. Like, there's just so many, like the edit does so many people dirty in the funniest way, and then also shows like these amazing players and how they're playing amazing. Like, literally Parvati kicks it up and fucking like the merge. I just remember like the merge episode and Parvati literally being jealous because she wasn't the center of attention, and she fucking flipped the whole game around because of it. Like, it just like Parvati should have won this season. Hands down, should have won this season. She had Russell in the palm of her hand. You know, Russell was playing the game he was playing because of Parvati, and she literally played him like a fiddle all the way to the end. And it just like, to me, like, and seeing like Sandra define against Russell, but not define against Parvati was just crazy to me. Like, to not see that full force of Sandra against Parvati like she was Russell. And I think it was 100% because it was a girl situation. I mean, that's what I think, at least. Also, Russell wasn't known by the rest of the cast. If you guys remember, he was the only one going in to where the others haven't seen each other's game before. And I love Russell. Like, I'm a Russell fan. I'm a little bit more of a hard-hearted Survivor player, and Russell definitely fits that category. Do I think he's a garbage jury management? Obviously, he's like the worst jury management ever. But entertainment value, this season is definitely number one. To me, it's not a dull moment in the whole game, and the confessionals and the effort, and just like, and if there wasn't effort from those players, they were literally like dogging them into the edit. And it's just, I don't know. I really, really like this season. I'm with James. I've watched this season probably more than any other, except for maybe Pearl Islands. I think both of them are pretty up there for me. But yeah, there's just so many, like, I can literally think of a moment with almost every single boot out, and like something they've said, or like something the edit did, or a game move they try to make and it didn't work out, or vice versa. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like you guys are wrong. I feel like there's hardly any dull episodes this season. That's why it's so highly rated. And it's like I said before, it's probably the season that has all of my collective favorites, like the most of my collective favorites on one season. And it's a good season on top of that. It's not a shitty returner season like Caramone. So I don't know. I think it's fantastic. I think that it was the peak, a great finish to a peak arc of Survivor. Because after that we got Nicaragua, and that shit was garbage. So I mean, like, to having like
after,
like having hardly any bad seasons, literally from the stretch of 1 to 20, and then having 20 kind of finish that era out before it started getting bad, I thought was a very good final finish. Very, very good.
Okay, let's move on to number 2. Just so you guys know, the top 2 are my top 2. Just saying.
I see. I was thinking Heroes Villains was second, and this one was third.
So they actually tied in the average ranking, but the way we broke the tie was the gap between them, and because the gap in Heroes vs. Villains was larger than this one, Heroes vs. Villains dropped to 3. This one's 2.
Okay.
So for this one, Frank has it at number 2. James and I both have it at number 3. And Amanda has it at number 5, season 31, Survivor Cambodia, Second Chance.
Well, I have this at 5. I'm surprised I kind of have it that low.
Look, this is easily, to me, the cast that everyone is there to play. There's not a person.
To be fair, before you keep going, remember, America voted for this cast. So if they went out there, these players went out there and dogged it, like, that would just look bad for everyone who put them out there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But they
I think that was fake. It was fake.
It was 100% fake, bro. Listen, I'm going to tell you why. That was 100% production chosen. And I'm not trying to be this way, but there's no way America would vote an equal amount of minority and women and men into that favorites and fans versus cast. It was 100% production chosen. I think the America vote was a bunch of bullshit to get phone numbers to sell y'all's information. Dead ass.
The men and women, they picked them separate. They were always going to be even.
Yeah, I think that I'm curious how a couple people got left off, but that's another discussion.
Yeah.
But
see, I don't think it was actually fan chosen, because I feel like if it was production, they would have let T-Bird play. I don't think like someone like Monica Padilla would be casted.
No, they wanted Monica because they wanted Brad.
There's no way the production wanted Kimmy back.
Yeah, so Rob, when he talked about it in his ranking podcast, he says that basically the reason he thinks Shane and T-Bird got left off is because he says most of the Survivor fans, they're not like us. Like, they haven't seen these seasons multiple times. Like, they've watched the most recent seasons and they remember people from that. And like, a lot of them didn't know who Shane or T-Bird were, probably, so they didn't pick them. But I mean then Jeff Varner and Kelly Wigglesworth get picked. So it's like,
But that I was just gonna say that's easily disputable because like Shane and Terry played the same season. Terry got picked.
yeah. I'm
I'm
just saying
telling
that's
you
what I've
guys,
heard.
it
But
was 100% production chosen.
All right,
Or
Amanda's conspiracy theory is out there. Frank, go
Okay,
ahead.
I'm
all right.
saying,
This cast is to me. This is the one cast where everyone's there to play and play their own game. They're even on our other returning seasons, you got someone there. They're just there to have a good time. You have a Candace, for example, from Heroes vs. Villains. You have, half the people from Karamoan within Game Changers. You have people there that are just there. But in this season, everyone's there. Everyone's trying to play, and this is like you get some of the craziest game moves and great relationships, great character moments. It sucked Terry got the lead when he did, but to me, this was peak for me. So I started watching shortly before this, and a lot of my favorites were on this season, and just felt like this will probably have this one probably has nostalgia for me because I got to see all these people get picked, and I was so hyped to see this season, and it delivered. Had a great winner, had a really good pre-jury, great merge, and like I was a little skeptical on the big merge because there was a lot of people, but it delivered. You got to see
season, yeah.
yes, a lot of people from Kagion, which is I love Kagion. Oh yeah, Cass, Spencer, Tosh. It's just like I love everybody on this season. Some of the moments like Wentworth playing her idol and then Savage getting voted out. Oh, I hated Savage. So seeing him get voted out that way, and then having Abby Marie say, "At least you made jury," and she get the big bird. That shit was so funny. Oh my god, that made it so funny to me. I laughed so hard. It gives me chills every time I see it. I'm like, yeah, suck it,
so good.
Savage. Suck it, Savage. Because he was so condescending throughout the
Oh
season.
God, him and his stupid beanie and the jury too. God, I hate that. I don't like that guy.
Yeah. He's
Um,
such a douche.
Hey, I have 2 words to summarize this season.
What?
Voting blocks.
Voting block.
Voting blocks.
Oh yeah.
They could not that and Meat Shield. It's as if like no one had ever known how to use someone as a shield before this, or at least talked about it that way. But I think this season we see so much strategy that is seen in seasons like today. Like this seems like this season was one of the most revolutionary when it came to strategy. Really, it was such a fluid game. It really was. It was kind of hard to track at times, even like who was working with who, like who was going to go next. Like it was so unpredictable for most of that big merge, and week to week, everything brought it and everything came together. But yeah, I mean, I love this season from a everything standpoint. The haters like to say it's such a game body season, but I mean, I think that's a stupid complaint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often do we see like people who take control of their tribe one episode literally fall to the very bottom the next episode? It doesn't happen very often. When Spencer and Shireen had the top, they were controlling the tribe, and then the very next episode, they're at the bottom. It's just stuff
It
like
shows
that.
you really how quickly the game can flip if you take 1 second and take your eye off the prize for a second, like it flips like that. And Spencer even talked about it that second episode. He was like, I thought I had it all laid out, got comfortable, and he almost went home.
Yeah.
But like this to me is like the benchmark. If you want Survivor strategy, this is the benchmark season for you to watch. Like to me, it doesn't get better than this.
No.
And just think of all the firsts that happened this season too. It was the first time they ever had the tribe expansion from 2 tribes to 3 tribes.
Yeah.
The first time they merged at 13 people. The first time they ever had a null vote. The first time the vote steal ever came out. Like there was a lot of new stuff that came into the season and first for Survivor, and it was all just done so well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you look at it too, especially with that null vote in the finale.
Yeah.
like the way that they handled it and explaining how everything was going to happen. Remember when Jeff pulled out the big whiteboard at the reunion?
Yeah.
Right after it happened, he's like, so "This is exactly what happened." And had to explain it. It was just so good.
Oh,
That shit was
how
crazy.
about Fishback is voting confessional and voting Joe goes, let me marinate
I'm
it
gonna
for just a
marinate
minute.
in this. Thank you.
And then he gets
Voted
voted
out.
out.
Fishback.
The double episode where the first episode Jeremy saves Fishback with one of his idols, and then
Fishback goes home.
Fishback
the second
goes
part.
home the next vote right
That
after
double episode is probably my favorite double episode in all of Survivor.
that.
Yeah.
Agree.
So good.
I was just gonna
I
say
think
that.
maybe the Millennials Gen X one the next season is the closest, but there's such a huge that was just pure gold.
And then I love it when Keith they vote out Abby and Keith's like, damn man, I would have wanted to sit at the end with Abby. Why'd you guys do that? And they're like, that's exactly why we
That's why
did
I
it,
voted
Keith.
her out.
He's like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we should have kept Abby. I would have liked to sit next to her.
Keith and his
Abby
tough
was
cut.
voted out. That sealed Spencer and Tasha's fate because that was a dumb.
I don't know
dumb
what
move by
Spencer was
Spencer.
thinking there.
Yeah,
He wasn't.
At Final 7, like
100%
you
wasn't.
go with Kelly and Keith and Abby.
Yes.
Take out Jeremy, take out Tasha, you take out Kelly at 5, and you're sitting with 3 goats at
Yes.
Final 4 that you can beat in the challenge.
Yes.
I don't know. Like Spencer's reads are so good generally, and like in this game,
That
generally
was
they were
so
really
bad.
good. But that was so bad.
That was one that cost him $1 million.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
yeah,
his
100%.
and the way he acted at the Final Four
when
FTC.
Kimmy and whenever I don't know if it was when Kimmy went home.
That was Jeremy who acted like a dick.
That was Jeremy who acted
Well,
like
Yeah.
like
That was another one of Spencer's good reads because he kept saying, "Jeremy, she's screwing us."
yep,
Because Jeremy's like, "No, we're all good," and Spencer's
good.
the whole time's like, "No, we're not."
we're
And
not
Spencer's
good.
right.
Yeah.
Frank,
So-
you remember
That's
how
why-
disappointed
that's
I
why
was when
Jeremy
won?
acted like that. And Spencer
Yes.
was like, dude, shut up.
Yeah, you were so upset when Jeremy won. You were so upset when Jeremy got casted.
Yeah, I was.
I was like,
I was
"Je-
super
Jeremy
upset.
won. What?
I
Dude,
loved
I was-
Jeremy his first time. He was awesome. He was so awesome to watch.
And he
I
really
just-
did play such a great game
He
this
he
time
played-
too. I think.
Literally, we talked about this before when he was with the voting box. Who's working with who? You could put one person in the middle of the board. Jeremy. Jeremy had his hand in everyone's cookie jar.
Yep.
Like he made
I'll
sure
tell you
all
right
the
now, I
boxes
didn't
were
see
open,
it
that he was
the
never,
first time.
except for Final 6, he was never gonna be the vote.
Yep.
And
I
he
didn't
had
see it the
two
first
bottles
time
of stuff
around.
during the game to make sure if he ever needed him, he had it.
Yeah.
I
He
saw it more
played
on the
good.
rewatch.
He went earlier though, like so. It's hard to say because he went at a point for being a big threat. Basically, he went early in the jury for that reason. So, I mean, yeah, but like he did. It wasn't a great showing the first time, really. But I mean, I saw that. I guess the potential.
The potential was
there,
absolutely
really.
there. Like he
Yeah.
had control of his group too, but that was just him. Jeremy mentioning the idol to John got him booted in Blood versus Water. If he just keeps his mouth shut, he's probably fine and probably do something later. But this just showed like he knew that because he was the biggest threat. That's why he got booted at that time. That's why he had the meat shield strategy. I'm going to keep Joe around. I'm going to keep Savage around. I'm going to keep all these people who people want out in front of me. So when people want to come after me, they're going to go for them, not me.
Right.
Yeah. Do you guys like Cass? Cass is one of my
Yes.
favorite survivors of all time.
Yeah.
So I
do.
literally love
She's a
her.
bad player, but
I think she's a bitch and not the greatest player, but I love her on my TV.
Yeah, I love her on my TV too, dude. I think she's absolutely fantastic.
the fact that she saved Spencer right before Murray.
gonna say
and then
that.
he votes her
Oh.
out the net right after that.
Oh,
I
so
love
To
her.
be fair, he
bogus.
tried to keep her.
Yeah, he did
The
try to
votes
keep
just
her.
weren't
he
there.
did try to keep her.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dude,
but
that's
still,
it.
that's tough. She saved him, and then he votes her out like 2 rounds later.
Dude, I love their
Well, that's right.
relationship.
It was the next round. Where
Was it
Cass
Yeah,
the
I
next-
was gonna say I love there might not be maybe other than Tony and Sarah like a multi-season arc of players like
Colby and
relationship that
Jerry.
I enjoy more than but for some reason I enjoy the Spencer Cass like dynamic
More.
from Kagayan, which we'll talk about, and then
Yeah.
into this season. It's just so interesting, and then having Wu be involved in part of it too in this too. Like it all kind of comes to like a full circle, and it's just
Weasel Woo.
Weasel.
I
Wu.
love Woo. Michael knows I love
Weasel Wu.
Woo.
Woo is so bad.
Yeah,
Woo is
we're
great.
gonna get to
He's such a
Great.
bad player.
great. Let's
Great.
define great.
He was great.
That's that you can say that. That's fair.
I also think it has a really like a top tier winner as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This was like a top 10 game winning game
Yes.
for Jeremy.
For sure. Look, I at the time I was like, man, Spencer deserves some votes, but as I rewatched it a few times, I understand why he lost the votes. The
I
way
agree
he acted
100%.
at Final Four was ridiculous.
Mhm.
He literally threw a temper tantrum in front of the jury. That's not a good look, and that's why he didn't get the votes he got. He honestly, if he played it cool at that tribal and he got 0 votes, I would have said like that was a little biased because Jeremy talked about his family and everything like that. But the way Spencer act, I think that sealed his fate on getting 0 votes.
Yeah.
So,
See, to me, what I saw was Spencer thought his acts would be like he's kind of like threatening Jeremy to take him to the end, or I'm gonna take the jury against you. Well, Jeremy's sitting there like act a fool. I'll keep you, but you're ruining your chances to win right
correct.
Yeah.
So Spencer is probably maybe my favorite Survivor player of all time. Definitely based on his first game. So obviously I was rooting for him here. But like he needed the way he like acted with the jury and like just the story that Jeremy had going for him along with the game he played, like he couldn't sit next to Jeremy in the end. And even with the game Wentworth played, like I really don't think he had a great chance against Wentworth either.
He had to do what I said earlier. He had to go sit with
Keith
Abby
or
and
Tasha
and Kimmy.
Yeah, Tasha too. I think he could be Tasha.
Yeah, Tasha was a goat.
Yeah, the ones he couldn't. It was pretty much a. By the time I think the final 6 was around, where there was the no vote tribal and they both played the idols, I think it was pretty much Jeremy or Kelly. Like one of them was going to win the game, so that's really what ended up happening. But I think this big merge, all the votes until that point, like. You really didn't know who had control of the game because it was changing every single freaking round. So
yeah, it was. All right. Anybody else have anything to say about it till we move to number 1?
There was one more thing I was going to say, and I'm totally blanking on what it was. All right, we'll move on. I'm totally forgetting.
All right. That's number 1, Michael.
All right. Is Amanda trying to talk?
I think she's talking to Chuck.
Okay.
Okay.
So, number 1 season. Amanda had it at number 2. Frank had it at number 1. James had it at number 1. And I had it at number 2. Season 28, Survivor Cagayan, Bronze versus Brains versus Beauty.
The finale.
The GOAT, man. He's the GOAT. Tony's the GOAT.
Yeah. And can we just start with, all right, obviously Wu made potentially the worst decision we've ever seen in Survivor by taking Tony to the end. Is this season still number 1 if Wu or Cass wins the season?
No.
Because I don't think it is.
No.
It's still very high for me, but I don't think it's number 1.
I think Cambodia is number 1.
Yeah, I think so too.
Whoa, what are we talking about?
If Wu cuts Tony at 3 and he wins the season or Cass wins, is this the number 1 season of all time?
Wait, are we still talking about Kage? Or are we still talking about second chances or Cagayan?
We're talking about Cagayan.
Cagayan.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My manager.
We just started. We just started Cagayan. You're good.
Okay. So what was the question? Cass would have never won that season, no matter what.
If Wu votes out Tony at final 3, is this the top season on our list?
Probably not. I think that Tony probably makes this season. And I think that this season is sweetened when he wins Winners at War. I think for some reason, Tony winning Winners at War brings Cagayan up as well, because you get to see him improve on that game, and it was still a winning game. if that makes any sense.
I
See,
agree
I
with what
completely
you're.
disagree. This season
I don't
is
think it
excellent without
matters.
that.
I don't think it matters, but I think people do that and add to this season because of what he did in Winners at War. But I don't think this
Yeah.
should matter. Like, he didn't play as good of a winning game here as he did in Winners at War, but he was the perfect winner for this messy, chaotic, just wild season.
Tony
this
played the
this is a
perfect game that
messy
you never
season.
see win Survivor, and he won.
No, yeah. Look,
Yeah.
it started out crazy from episode 1, where they send people to the exile, and they pick somebody. The brains try to pick somebody, and they send their biggest guy potentially out of the game, which is the craziest thing to do. You haven't built a shelter or anything. Luckily, he's
David,
not out.
what are you
Yeah.
doing? You're an
Yeah.
idiot.
We have the Tajia dumping out the rice, iconic.
Oh god, so good.
And still surviving tribal hours
That
later.
was crazy.
Rounds
I'm
later.
Garrett
Rounds
goes home
later.
that vote, and I'm like my face was Spencer's when they canned to him after Garrett got voted out, and I was like, what the fuck?
Garrett decides to have a tribe round table, brings them all together
On day
basically-
6 or day
Yeah.
5, whatever it was.
Uh.
Dude, what are you doing?
and he had an idol.
Got blindsided with the idol.
Oh my
It's
god,
just-
dude.
For
One of the
someone-
worst
for
players of
someone
all
who-
time.
For someone who dumped the rice out. I think him
This is a professional poker player. He's supposed to be smart and know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that this is? I think this is why it's so high for me. It's probably the best storytelling of Survivor. This is probably the best storytelling season of Survivor with the final 3 that sits at that end.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
And how this.
Final 4 even with because you had Spencer too.
Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
so much about all 4 of their stories and their journeys and how they got there really. And yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. The merge vote this is potentially the best merge episode we
Trish
have.
played that merge vote perfectly.
yeah.
Oh my
Go to the-
god.
The person
Perfectly.
who claims herself going around the swing vote. She picks her side, and then she goes right to Cass. Hey, Cass, what do you want to see happen? I want Sarah to go home. Trish, we're fucking voting Sarah tonight because that's the only way we have to survive this vote.
Yeah. And then
Dude,
you have
Sarah going that vote was crazy
Trish is
too.
so
She's so
underrated too.
as a
Yes.
player.
and then you have not one but 2 idols wasted at that vote. Neither one of them
And
protect.
Tony and LJ playing for each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And
they
they
voted for
both
Jeffrey.
wasted
Could you
them.
imagine if Cass didn't flip?
Oh yeah.
Jeffrey goes
Oh,
home
man.
and they burned 2 idols.
Yeah. I'll never
Like
forget
that was just the
Jeffrey-
cherry on top. The 2 idols are gone, and but they still kind of get their way.
Yeah, you see
Jeffrey going.
Yeah, then we see Tony flip on his alliance a couple rounds later.
He did it in the pre-merge too with Cliff.
Yeah.
They voted out Cliff.
He did it to Cliff, he did it to LJ, he did it to Jeffra, and then he voted. Well, no, Trish was going home anyway, but
To me, the cherry on the top is when that moment right there where Trish is asking Tony for $1 million. Tony, was it worth it? Look me in the eyes, and he just still in colds, look her in the eye, and goes, "Yeah," and it just
It
gives
was
me
worth
chills
it.
every time. Every
She
time.
voted for him, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
She voted for him to win.
Yeah.
It was only,
Yeah.
Tasha was the only one who voted for Wu. Everybody else voted for
For
Tony.
Wu.
Yeah.
Ah, that's right.
What a vote. Wasted Tasha. Like after watching, like I really enjoyed her in Kagion, but then watching her vote for Wu and then her second chance game, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I
want to
love
see Tasha
Trish's
anymore.
face too after that. What you just said, Frank. Like, was it worth it to play on his solo memory? Yep.
Yep.
She's like, all right.
All right. Yeah.
Spencer's speech.
I think if he said no, she votes for Wu.
Yeah.
Spencer's
Yeah.
speech. Woo, I'd like to compare your game to that of a dog. Whenever Tony said sit, you sat.
And then at the end of the game, when you had the chance to win it, you did what a really good dog would do. You stayed
Stay
loyal
loyal.
to your owner.
I'm dead.
And Wu was like, as a student of the game, would you respect it if you cut the person you were loyal to? Spencer. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I expect you to do.
That's what a good player has to do.
And
I love Spencer.
God, Spencer was so great on this season.
Yes.
This is
Um,
why I love Spencer. Like Spencer is like whenever I played these, or like Spencer's the one person I compare myself to the most because
Yeah.
there's just so watching
Yeah.
it, especially rewatching it every time. I'm like, this dude's just me. Like this
Yeah.
is
He
exactly
just-
how I
Cass,
would act.
0 chance of winning $1 million.
Oh
If I
yeah,
was pissed off, I'd say something like that
favorite
too.
chance of winning the game. Yeah, I
It
just
was even better. Remember when she threw it back in his face in the second chance final tribal?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and then
so
the
good.
hunt for the idol when Wu steals the clue out of Spencer's pocket, and they're all running for
And
the
then Spencer
idol.
still finds the idol.
Yeah, he
then
still
wastes
finds
it.
the idol right next to him. It puts it right in his
Oh.
underwear, and he wastes it. Yep.
I'm dead. What
Oh,
a great.
You know what the
fucking
greatest
How
thing was?
about-
If he did it on Jeremiah that night, like he was thinking of Wu when it went home.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about this was the llama noises where Tony's like, "Casting llama."
I'm sorry, I don't talk lamb. I'm supposed to talk Lappity.
He brought
Oh,
it back
God,
up
man.
at tribal council too. That was the funniest part because Jeff was asking about it, and
I gotta
he
find the llama
started
noises.
talking about it.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
honestly
boy.
just moments like that. There's not a. Do you sit there and be like, "Oh, that was a dud episode"? I feel like even the round Jatia went
No.
home, it's like, is I really gonna keep Jatia again?
I think the beauty tribe was a little boring. You know,
Yeah,
like
they
I don't know,
were.
like it was a little boring. But other than that, the other two tribes were stellar entertainment, and then the merge was absolutely amazing. Obviously, all the way to the end.
Oh, ready?
Hold on.
I'm sorry, I don't talk Lama. I'm supposed to talk Lama to
I can't believe he did that on national television.
And he doesn't get that tribal. He's like, we are arguing, Jeff. I was like, you want me to speak Llama, dude?
She's fine. I thought she could answer this. So she could understand me, Jeff.
Then Tony.
I would say we would never get a win like with Tony, but then Tony went on and fucking won again.
Yes,
This
look.
version of Tony, we will never see someone like that win again.
No,
And
He's
that's what
once-
makes this season so special.
once in a
He's a
lifetime.
unicorn. He's a unicorn.
This is a unicorn win.
Yes, you never. And like, if I went to winners that were, I'm like, this guy has zero chance of winning.
Zero chance.
I would have put like a lot of money down that he had no chance of winning. I thought Tony, I thought Rob and Sandra, all and Parvati probably had no chance of winning that game. Like, they were never gonna sniff that end game. And then I was like, and then when Tony did it, I was just in awe.
I didn't think they were sniffing merge. Never mind endgame.
Right.
Tony, like I remember when they merged, I'm like, oh my god, Tony's still here. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps going. Like, oh my god, this dude's gonna fucking win this game again.
Like you were talking about all-time great episodes. That merge vote is also an all-time great episode.
That to me, that's a top 10 episode.
Yes,
top 10.
just like the whole build up to it, the vote, the aftermath, the shocked faces, like the whole thing. It's just top tier Survivor.
And
top tier
Sarah
TV.
Lucina putting on a masterclass of how to completely fuck up being the swing.
Fuck herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't keep telling people you're the swing position.
I have the power. I'm the swing vote. I can flip on you. I'm like, Sarah, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, and her acting like that towards it was mostly to Cass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're not only is this not going to work, you're going to go home, and then she did.
Yep.
She got
So-
what was coming to her.
Then she came back and won Game Changers, just like Tony came back and won Winners of War.
Yeah, but she also learned from her mistakes.
Mhm.
Like
Like,
Tony did.
yeah, it's just like I said, this is just I think there's not a dull episode.
No.
And I mean,
now.
the premiere and the finale are great too.
Yes,
I did like the surprise final too. Like I was not expecting a final two.
right, and it just made his win even better because he should have won.
He should have been cut at 3. Any player with any common sense would have cut him at 3.
Like Cass is gonna cut him at 3. Like,
I mean, he should have been cut before.
Loyal, bro.
He should have been cut before that. He had the
Tyler Perry
idol, which he convinced them was good until the Final Four. It was only good
that
until the
was
Final
genius.
five.
That
And
was
that was
amazing.
genius.
Genius.
Yes.
Genius.
Oh, this is
and they
super
all
fun.
just
After the
believed
votes
him.
at 5. I'm just gonna hide the rules to this and say it's good till 4. And they all believed him. And remember when he read the rules at the Final Four tribal, like after they all voted, Jeff came back with the votes. He's like, "I'm gonna read the powers of this super idol of this idol. It's good after I can play it after the votes are read and it expires at 5. So this idol's absolutely useless." Look, the look on Spencer's face, he was pissed.
Oh, he was so
he was
mad, dude. He was so heated.
Yeah.
If he knew he could have voted Tony out, he probably could have gotten
He
the votes on
would've,
Tony that
yeah.
night.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
definitely. 100%
Yeah.
would have tried to.
Yep.
Damn.
I don't know if it would have worked,
What a
but
great
he would have
season.
he would have had a chance
Yes.
instead of trying to convince them to vote out Woo.
And honestly, for Spencer to make it to Final Four is a miracle to say in the least as well.
Yeah. I mean, he did
Definitely.
win. He won like what, 3 immunities, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
But still,
And just think he had an idol too that he wasted. If he played the idol correctly at any point to keep one of his allies around.
yeah, he might win the game.
That was a 50-50
Definitely.
shot, right? Because he played it on
He played it on
himself
and
and Jeremiah.
and Woo would have went home at 8.
But he
could have kept it in his pocket.
He would have
Jefferson
played it
goes
on
at 7,
Jeremiah.
he could have played it on Tasha at 6 and gotten Tony out that night.
Yeah, and
Well, no, Tony had the idol. Trish would have went home.
Tony also, like, winners at war, it's hard to point out any mistakes he made. Like in this game, he made
a lot of mistakes.
There are a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But he cleaned them up.
Yeah.
And did what he had to do, basically. But like my first thing, a really subtle, like not talked about mistake I think that Tony made in this season that really could have bit him in the ass, but it didn't, was when they won the challenge with the Slop Tribe and they're celebrating, screaming,
Top 5, baby!
Top 5. What are you doing, dude? Come on. Like, when I watched that for the first time, I was like, what is this dude doing? Like, who does that?
The funny thing is,
I'm sorry, Sarah got way too much in her feels about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
yeah, she
Trish
did.
was the only one who made top 5 with them out of that group, right?
No, Woo.
Yeah.
Oh, Woo too. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Woo. So 3
You
out.
gotta thank those Schaefer. Like when you're aligned with someone and you get swapped away from them, and you're like, man, I just really want to get back with this person. Like that's my true person I want to work with. Like da 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 da. And seeing them fucking jump up and down, being like, oh, this is my people.
You gotta think of just they're in the moment here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I thought it was just dumb for Tony to say it out.
I'm not defending Tony. He should not have done it. But
look, we got to see destruction of the Brains tribe, and then all of a sudden the rise of the Brains tribe into power, and like even like there's not an episode that I watch. I'm like, that was a hard episode to watch. I could literally sit down and watch this whole season and enjoy every episode. And I think I think Kaigian and Cambodia are in their tier for myself of their own, because I feel like I enjoy every episode and I enjoy every character. Even though like Jeffra, she really didn't do much. She had her moments that made her stand out, like her celebrating in their faces when she survives that vote. Her arguing with Tony about, oh yeah, they asked me to vote you out, but I'm not gonna do it. It just LJ's being an idiot and gets blindsided by Tony because he made them just say, oh yeah, we can go after Rue eventually.
Yeah, I think
funny.
The only person that made the merge that was completely useless was Morgan, I would say.
And thank God she went out quickly.
And she went out early.
They had their pick of the litter. They could have gotten out Tasha. They could have gotten out Jeremiah, but they went for Morgan. And then Tony got so pissed that he was the one who got the votes.
Look.
Because he's like, we voted out Morgan because she wasn't trying. And they're like, okay, we don't care.
Yeah, and then Jeremiah was a wet fart as well. But other than that,
Jeremiah was kind of a waste of space.
Yeah.
But I mean, every merge, those are the only 2 like complete duds. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Standouts are like
because they don't go
top tier
Correct.
standout. Like you have Tony and Spencer and Cass and Trish, and I mean to say what you want about him as a player, but Woo's a good character, and
Woo's good character.
Yeah.
And then like Cass is good TV. Tony is good TV and a good player.
Yeah.
Spencer's a good player. Trish is a good player.
Tasha's
a good player.
Trish is such an underrated player.
Yeah, she's the most underrated. player on this season.
Yeah.
I feel like she got shafted, I think, by the edit.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to make her,
she
oh,
did.
she's just Tony's goat. I'm like, no, she's
No.
actually pretty good.
No, she's the one who helped save Tony in a lot of those episodes.
You talked about all the messes that Tony made this season. She cleaned most of them up.
Correct.
Tony needed someone like Trish to keep him in line this season.
Where I feel like that was kind of where he evolved in Winners of War, where he didn't need that person cleaning his messes up. He was good enough to take care of it himself.
Hey, whatever useless Cliff says the Weasel Woo, I'm gonna know.
You know why he got called Weasel Woo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because of
he snuck in production camp.
Snuck in shit, yeah.
And stole food.
It had nothing to do with the game, yeah.
No.
Which is funny.
That is funny. It's so funny. I mean, do you blame him? Would you try it if you could? I'd sneak.
I don't blame him.
I would sneak some water and food if I could. Like, unless it says something in
get
my
away with
contract I signed.
Or you could be like James Clement. Apparently, the word on the street is that Russell said James snuck weed oil out to Heroes versus Villains and was rubbing it on his skin and stuff, and like it was like an advantage. And then there's a supposed rumor that Mike White did like the same thing in
I heard that one.
Goliath. Yeah, but no one talks about the James one, but Russell claims that happened, that it was definitely a thing. But yeah, I haven't heard of anyone besides Wu sneaking like extra like food and stuff out there.
Right.
All right.
That's crazy though. But this is the best season of Survivor.
Yes, I can watch this and enjoy myself every time. My friend, he watched this on when it came to Netflix. He's like, "Oh, Survivor's really good." And I was like, "Which season did you watch?" And he told me, I was like, "You made a mistake, man." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You
Watch
peaked.
the best season first.
You peaked."
See, I did that to my friend. I was trying to get him to watch Survivor, and he wouldn't watch it. So I went over to his house. This was like right before COVID shut down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I took the remote and I put on Kageon. I'm like, you're watching it this at least, so you can watch a good season.
Yeah.
And I got him into it.
Yeah.
And he started watching all these other seasons.
Yeah.
And then I made him watch others before. It's like he wanted to watch Cambodia, and I'm like, no, watch these other seasons first, because that one's just as good.
Yep.
Right.
They had 2 on Netflix at the same time, and my friend who like I hadn't talked to about Survivor in a while, like I just saw him randomly. He's like, "Yeah, I've watched like a couple seasons of Survivor because they're on Netflix," and it was like Kageon and like Cambodia. And I'm like, or Heroes versus Villains. No, it was those 2, and I'm like, yeah, those are my 2 favorite seasons. Like you should have started with more like mediocre seasons.
Yeah.
China. I'm telling you guys, China is the perfect starter season.
It is a good one. That's a good one to start on.
It's great.
I think Token Teens is a good starter season too.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go more modern,
David versus Goliath.
maybe
Kageon's
David versus
modern.
Goliath or Millennials versus Gen X. Like
I don't think Millennials.
I think Co Wrong is a good starter season too.
That's a good one.
it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Any like decent to good, I think newbie season is a good one to start with. Like it can't be too good though. Like Kageon's
Oh, I
too
know.
good to start.
Gabon.
Gabon. Oh god.
Oh.
Gabon's such a fun mess, but someone be like, "What?"
I feel like it's not the best to start with
No.
for that reason. Yeah.
No. But that's our rankings. We did
Jesus.
all 44 seasons. We disagreed on a lot. We agreed on some.
Good.
But when it's all said and done, Frank had the top 2 right answers. That's all we came here about.
Michael
Your
Scudo with
answers,
Philippines.
You're not the right answers.
Yeah.
But do you guys like to add anything before we go?
I'll be Frank. I'm gonna send you everything, or I'll just post it on the page
Okay.
once all these episodes are up. All the different lists we have.
Sounds good.
I won't like spoil it, but we do have an idea for a draft coming up soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
please,
Something
please
we're gonna
don't be the
do.
one I want.
And it's gonna be a lot of fun if we're actually gonna go through with this, because I think it can go on for a while, but I really think I think this will be really good if we go through with this. So stay tuned for that.
Yep.
5 more weeks until Survivor, guys.
Yes, it is. But all right, until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.